Bank of the Universe. Li Xiandao obtained the ancient Bank of the Universe, but now the bank was totally empty and had no treasures at all. The only thing it had were a bunch of debts. The Eternal Celestial King borrowed a supreme celestial artifact and will pay back 2 pieces after 3,000 years. He will pay an additional piece for every 1,000 years after the expiry date. Moon Celestial loaned a high-quality face, returned after 10,000 years. If overdue, she will pay with her life. Time Immemorial Sage loaned 10,000 years in life from the Bank of the Universe in order to break through. After he breaks through, he will pay back 10,000 years. If late, he must pay back 10 times the amount. Li Xiandao looked at these debts and at the empty Bank of the Universe. He made his mind up to become a true expert, to find all these supreme beings to get back the overdue debts one by one. A powerless mortal had become the biggest creditor in the 9 heavens and 10 lands and even the entire celestial world. Chapter 1, Even the Celestial God is indebted to me. Once you are a slave, everyone within 3 generations will all be slaves. Your grandfather is a slave, your dad is a slave, and you'll be a slave your entire life too. So what if I nearly kill you? You'll have to take it. Li Xiandao, you're quite ambitious for wanting to cultivate. Why don't you take a good look at yourself? You don't have any talent. I would even be better off training a dog. Even a dog knows to show humility in front of its owner. Are you even capable of that? Li Xiandao. How dare you try and learn the martial arts of the Zhou family? You won't live to see another day. Li Xiandao opened his eyes and tried to stand up, knowing that he wasn't in a good situation. He was a transmigrator, who arrived 3 months ago and ended up being a slave for the Zhou family, and was abused day in and day out. Of course, Li Xiandao wasn't happy with what happened and he tried to learn martial arts in secret. But he was discovered and the young master of the family hired a group to beat him to death, and discarded the body at an unmarked burial ground. Upon opening his eyes, Li Xiandao couldn't believe what he was seeing. It wasn't an unmarked burial ground. It was a lavish palace, and Li Xiandao was laying in a room inside that very palace. "Master, are you awake?" said a feminine soft-spoken voice, triggering him to open his eyes. "Who are you?" asked Li Xiandao. "I am the housekeeper for the Bank of the Universe, 7, the voice replied. The Bank of the Universe. Li Xiandao scowled and investigated his surroundings, including 7. A beauty. An otherworldly beauty. Li Xiandao swore that no woman from his previous life, with the help of any sort of makeup, Photoshop, or filters even came close to 7. 7's looks were too good to be true. She was like an HD photo. One could only look at it as touching it would completely destroy its beauty. The Bank of the Universe, the most mysterious bank in the entire universe. "Master, in the process of you coming here, you've been elected to become the 9th owner of the bank," said 7. 9th owner? What happened to the previous 8? Li Xiandao managed to ask the really important question, not being overwhelmed by what he saw before him. "They died," 7 said regretfully. "How did they die?" Li Xiandao asked without hesitation. "I don't know. 7 is just a guiding spirit. I can't go anywhere other than the Bank of the Universe. I don't know anything about what the previous 8 owners did outside the bank," replied 7. "You're a spirit." Li Xiandao was a bit disappointed. How could someone so beautiful be a spirit? "Yes, I'm a spirit. Born in the Bank of the Universe. As long as the bank lives on, I will never die," 7 replied with a nod. "Then, what does this Bank of Universe do?" asked Li Xiandao. "It's a bank, and obviously banks do business. We trade everything that exists in the universe, it's just a matter of what price," 7 answered. "Anything can be traded." Li Xiandao's eyes glistened with hope. "Yes. There have been countless transactions since the birth of the bank, nobody gets cheated, everything is written down in black and white. Contracts are in effect as soon as they are signed," 7 said proudly. "Doing business requires capital, so what does the bank have so far?" asked Li Xiandao. 7's smile was immediately turned upside down, replying with her head hung low, "Because the previous owners haven't been doing their job so well, the bank is currently empty. Many facilities and areas are now closed off. The only thing that's in service is this very palace. Didn't do their job well." Li Xiandao scowled. Many debts were not paid, resulting in a broken contract. The master gets punished whenever a contract is broken. "I presume that the previous deaths have to do with that," answered 7. What types of debts were they? And the debtors too, paying back debts are perfectly reasonable. Li Xiandao stood up, full of righteousness. Here are the contracts. 7 summoned a bunch of contracts in front of Li Xiandao with a wave of her hand. Li Xiandao was dumbfounded when he grabbed one and looked at it in detail. The Eternal Celestial King, loan supreme celestial equipment, paying back 2 pieces after 3,000 years. The debtor pays 1 additional piece for every 1,000 years after the expiry date. The Eternal Celestial King is the unmatched Celestial King whose name is known across all the lands. The same king forces a change of leaders to every world he visits using the borrowed Eternal Celestial Sword. Li Xiandao said with a trembling voice. Yeah, and also someone who doesn't pay back their debts. 7 agreed. He's the Eternal Celestial King, the one who raided the celestial world from the 9 heavens and 10 lands. He was even more insurmountable with the sword, and you still dare to call him out on owing debts. He has been through many worlds, from the highest of celestial worlds to the 9 heavens and 10 lands. He owned many territories, had many followers, and his way of training was recognized everywhere. Everybody wanted to get into the 9 heavens and 10 lands, and enter the celestial world through that. Li Xiandao was in a corner of the Dali land in the 9 heavens and 10 lands. And now, 7 told him that the Eternal Celestial King, who was praised by countless people in the celestial world, owed him a huge sum? That was ridiculous. How could he get it back? 7 corrected Li Xiandao. Master, the Eternal Celestial Sword doesn't belong to the Eternal Celestial King, but is the property of the Bank of Universe. And now that you are the owner of the Bank of the Universe, that also means that the Eternal Celestial Sword is yours. It's mine. Li Xiandao said full of glee. That's right, the Eternal Celestial King is aware of the contract, but he's refusing to honor it. According to the contract, he has to pay another piece of celestial equipment of equivalent value. That means that the Eternal Celestial King owes you 10 super strong celestial equipment. 10 super strong celestial equipment. Li Xiandao was shocked. 7 took out 2 more contracts, saying, this belongs to the Winter Moon Celestial, and this one belongs to the Time Immemorial Sage. Both of them are known for their debts and defaulting their contracts whenever they're due. Moreover, Master has the responsibility to chase the debts. Winter Moon Celestial, the most beautiful celestial in the celestial world, with countless admirers. Time Immemorial Sage, one of the elder war gods. These are among the highest profiles in the celestial world. But now, there were all people who were debtors to him. After taking a closer look, Li Xiandao's eyes lit up once again. Moon Celestial, loaned a high-quality face to be returned after 10,000 years. If overdue, it will be paid with one's life. Time Immemorial Safe loaned 10,000 years in life from the Bank of the Universe in order to break through. When he manages to break through, he will pay back 10,000 years. If late, he must pay back 10 times the amount. It turned out that the Moon Celestial bought her looks from the Bank of Universe to become the best-looking celestial in the celestial world. On the other hand, Time Immemorial Sage owed the bank 10,000 years, times 10 because it was overdue, resulting in 100,000 years. Li Xiandao's breathing sped up and he became very worked up. It's completely reasonable to pay back loans. So what if he's the Celestial King? So what if she's the most beautiful celestial? One day, I'll make them pay. I support Master. I don't know how many overdue debts there are throughout the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The previous owners have lent out many items, and since their death, they have just been abandoned. Now, we need Master to get all these people to pay and make the Bank of the Universe great again, shouted 7. Chapter 2, The First Trade. After Li Xiandao calmed down, he asked in a serious tone, what does the Bank of the Universe actually do? Right now, I'm totally garbage and have no abilities, nor do I have any celestial weapons. Li Xiandao felt depressed when he said this. It had been 3 months since he transmigrated, and he wasn't even able to escape slavery. It was because the boy's grandfather was a slave, and anyone in the family 3 generations after would remain a slave. Therefore, Li Xiandao was born into slavery. How could he accept a transmigration like that? In those 3 months, he had been trying to learn the martial arts of the Zhou family. But the results weren't even noticeable. After all, Li Xiandao was of considerable age and had missed the golden age for cultivation. There was also the point about his talent, which was the worst of the worst, way below the average Zhou. Within those 3 months, he wasn't even able to get past the first stage of cultivation. 7 said, don't worry, Master. The Bank of the Universe has the right to buy and sell everything. And you, as the owner, have inherited everything the Bank of the Universe has to offer. Although the Bank of the Universe is currently in a terrible situation, it has limitless potential. Master is worried about talent, but as long as someone is willing to give up their unmatched talent, Master will be able to absorb it. Li Xiandao's eyes lit up. Everything in the world can be traded. That's right, as long as someone is willing to offer it, and Master gives the go-ahead, it can all be traded. 7 assured. But there isn't anything in the Bank of the Universe right now. Li Xiandao cried. This would require some ideas from you, Master, said 7. Li Xiandao closed his eyes to think and said, can I trade my life with others? 7 nodded with no hesitation, of course, you're the owner of the Bank of the Universe. Li Xiandao replied, what about customers? Li Xiandao couldn't wait to make his first trade and build up the Bank of the Universe, but there wasn't a single customer in sight. 7 waved her hand, revealing 3 blood-red colored watches. Despite being highly detailed, they had hollow interiors. 7 said, Master, these are the invitations to the Bank of the Universe. As long as you have a trade in mind, the watches will find a suitable candidate. And if they agree, they will enter the bank to trade with Master. Really? Li Xiandao exclaimed. At its peak, there were hundreds of thousands of watches with tens of thousands of messengers all across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, unmatched by anyone in the celestial world. But now, there are only 3 watches left, 7 said with a depressing tone. Li Xiandao grabbed a watch and said to 7, don't worry, I'll return the Bank of the Universe to its former glory. I will pay these high-profile people who aren't paying back their debts a visit personally, and get them to repay what they owe. 7 smiled, I believe you, Master, let's start by picking our first customer. Li Xiandao closed his eyes and thought about what he wanted to trade. His lifespan. 5 years of his life. Li Xiandao was 18. Although he missed the golden period for training, he was still very young with decades ahead of him. Taking out 5 years as his capital wasn't a problem. When the watch received the message, it slowly faded away in his hands and disappeared. At the same time, Li Xiandao felt more mature. Losing 5 years of his life didn't affect him too much. 7 said, now, the watch will seek out a suitable candidate. Because the Bank of the Universe is in a sorry state, the watch doesn't have a big range and is probably only able to reach a few thousand miles around Master. Li Xiandao nodded, hope it's quick. Tell me more about the Bank of the Universe in the meantime. 7 nodded and started going over the information of the bank. The Dali Land, a world in the 9 heavens and 10 lands, a wide and huge land. Taikang, a rural town in a separate continent. There were 3 main families in this town, Zhou, Lin and Zhang. The 3 families had control over Taikang, and there would be a Dao pursuing realm elder in each family watching over. In the cultivation world, one started from foundation realm, to ascension, to life wheel before reaching Dao pursuing realm. At Dao pursuing realm, one could control the essence energy of heaven and earth, which was why they were really strong. Within Taikang City, there was a Dao pursuing elder in each of the 3 families. However, there had been some problems recently with the elder in the Li family. The elder was nearing the end of their life and didn't have much time left. Everyone in the Li family was panicking. Without the Dao pursuing realm elder watching over, the Zhou family and the Zhang family would take over in the blink of an eye. Various medicinal herbs, countless physicians, and even the best doctor in the town weren't able to help. The Li family was panicking. Completely panicking. The Zhou and Zhang families were ready to go. They had recalled the best fighters in their family and were awaiting the death of the elder, so they could immediately destroy the Li family. A huge storm was about to hit Taikang. And at this moment, at the edge of his life, the elder barely opened his eyes and saw a watch. A watch that was ticking along. A blood-red watch. And through the watch, he could see limitless possibilities. The elder of the Li family grabbed the watch with his remaining energy. If I can continue living on, I'm willing to pay any price, the elder muttered. In the Bank of the Universe, 7 said to Li Xiandao suddenly, Master, there's a customer. Li Xiandao was excited, so soon? Clean up, and be ready for business. Li Xiandao said sternly. With a wave of her hand, 7 and Li Xiandao were brought to a brightly lit hall. Li Xiandao changed into a black robe and put on a dark gold mask. Li Xiandao didn't want to show himself as he was still quite weak. In the next moment, the elder of the Li family showed up in the hall. ashen hair, full of wrinkles, on the brink of death. They were slouched on the chair and couldn't even stand. This was an old man who was steps away from death. The elder didn't have any aura of a Dao pursuing expert left. What is this place? The elder opened his eyes and looked at Xiandao with shock on his face. He couldn't read Xiandao, and couldn't see their face either. He could only see a mysterious person with a golden mask. This is the Bank of the Universe. You have received our watch, now state what you seek, said Xiandao. Life, I want to continue living. I can't die. The elder didn't consider anything else as he hastily stated. The footsteps of death were near, and the elder could hear them clearly. He didn't want to die. It wasn't just him, the entire Li family wanted him to live on too. If he died, the Li family would be done for. This was his life's work. Therefore, he looked at Xiandao, full of hope. He wanted to grab hold of any sliver of hope, no matter how small. He wanted to live on. Xiandao nodded at the hopeful eyes of the elder. I can give you 5 more years, but what can you offer? The elder exclaimed, anything I have, just tell me. 7 whispered to Xiandao, right now, the Bank of Universe lacks spirit meridians, and the Li family has 1 high-quality spirit meridian. Xiandao nodded and said, 1 high-quality spirit meridian in exchange for 5 years of lifespan. If you agree, go ahead and sign. 7 brought out the contract written in black and white, clear as day. The elder was completely dumbfounded. He didn't think Xiandao would want the spirit meridian. The Li family only had that 1 spirit meridian. What a high price to pay. Even the higher profiles would cast their eyes on a high-quality spirit meridian. A high-quality spirit meridian could be exchanged for hundreds of medium-quality ones. It could allow a normal person to reach Dao pursuing realm. The Zhang and Zhou family were also eyeing that very spirit meridian. In exchange for 5 years? Was it worth it? Chapter 3, Trade Success. Trade. After the Li family elder weighed the pros and cons, he decided to trade with the Li family. He could live for 5 more years, which meant that he could protect the Li family for another 5 years. He could ensure that the Li family would produce a Dao pursuing realm expert in 5 years before he moved on. If he died now, the Li family would not have a single Dao pursuing realm expert and their entire family would die. If the Li family was wiped out, then what was the point of a spirit meridian? Rather than letting Zhou family and Zhang family benefit, trading with it was a better choice. After signing his name on the contract, the Li family elder looked at Xiandao. 7 took the contract and nodded her head in satisfaction. Xiandao knew that the matter was settled. He stood up and walked by the Li family elder's side. Before this, 7 had already taught Xiandao that, in the bank, he was the god. The only god. He just needed to think about what he wanted to do and no one would be able to be his match in the bank. They wouldn't even be able to get close to Xiandao. Xiandao reached out, grabbing 5 years of his lifespan and then shot it into the Li family elder's body. At that moment, the white-haired Li family elder, who was on the brink of death, became much younger. He was still old but he looked different from before. Before this, he looked like he already had 1 foot in the grave. The Li family elder now had 5 years. For those 5 years, he would remain like this. The moment those 5 years passed, he would die right away. The Li family elder looked at his own body in disbelief. Before this, he couldn't even stand up. Now, he could walk freely. Before this, he found it tough to even breathe. Now, he felt like his body was filled with energy. Before this, he felt as though his entire body had been sucked dry and empty. Now, he felt like his body was filled with energy. He was alive once more. He had 5 more years of lifespan. He used 1 high-quality spirit meridian in exchange for it. The Li family elder looked at Xiandao in shock. He looked at the gold mask as if he was looking at a god. Such abilities were never heard of before, and so it sent fear and terror into his heart. Xiandao said calmly, I have given you 5 years of lifespan and I will immediately send someone to your manor to obtain the spirit meridian. I hope you don't go against the contract. After he talked about going against the contract, Xiandao waved his sleeves and a strong wind swept the Li family elder away. He had no way to resist at all. Dong! After the world around him spun and turned on its head, the Li family elder opened his eyes and looked around. He was back in his room. Such a terrifying power! As expected, I shouldn't offend him. Li family elder's heart was filled with terror as he shouted right away. Men! His children and grandchildren, outside the room, pushed the door open and entered. They all saw a different person. Father, you, the eldest son and also the one with the most hope of entering Dao pursuing realm, looked at his father in shock. His father, who was on his last breath. His father, who could only lay on the bed. His father, who would die at any moment. He stood up. The color of his face, the aura, it was so strong that he couldn't read it. This. How was this possible? Everyone in Li family looked on in disbelief. The Li family elder's face sunk and said, I have embraced death and through that gained life, the heavens have granted me youth. All of you don't have to worry anymore. Everyone became excited. They all cheered and danced happily. With the elder here, Li family would survive. If the elder died, then there was a high chance that the Li family would die too. Just at that moment, a manservant ran over in terror and shouted, Not good, people from Zhang family and Zhou family are here. They say that they are here to send elder on his way. The Li family members looked on in rage, they were infuriated. Li family elder laughed coldly, Send me on my way, I want to see whether or not they have the ability to do so. Using one spirit meridian to exchange for 5 years of lifespan gave Li family elder much confidence. He feared nothing and strolled out confidently. The other Li family members followed him out. Li Manor. Outside. Many people gathered and they split into 2 groups. They were led by 2 old men and they focused on the Li Manor entrance. That old damn thing from Li family is probably dead. The Zhou family elder said coldly. A Dao pursuing realm person can, at most, live for 300 years. He is grade 9 of Dao pursuing realm, so he can barely live to 290 years. This year is his limit. The Zhang family elder laughed in disdain. In the past, Li family always suppressed our 2 families, now it's time for revenge. Zhou family elder said coldly. Grandfather, the oldest daughter of Li family is really beautiful, I want her. Zhou family young master's eyes filled with greed and he said excitedly. Zhou family elder didn't care at all, she is just a girl. If you want her, then just take her and play. Zhou family young master nodded excitedly and said, when the time comes, I want to have a good taste of her. I will teach her a lesson for looking down on me every day. Let's break it down and enter. The people are all hiding behind and didn't dare to come out. They are all turtles. Zhang family young master said calmly. Right, with both our families working together, unless Li family elder recovers, the Li family will lose today. Zhou family elder said confidently. Recovers. Zhang family elder laughed with disdain and said, unless he breaks through Dao pursuing realm and reaches higher levels, with his dried up body, it will be extremely difficult. Break the entrance and enter. Zhou family young master hollered. He was the first to charge forward. He raised his leg and was about to kick the gate. Hong! But a terrifying power exploded out, causing him to fly backward. His blood rose to his throat as he spat it out. He said in disbelief, what terrifying power is that? Zhou family elder and Zhang family elder's expressions changed and they looked on in disbelief. That was the power of Dao pursuing realm. This was the aura of Dao pursuing realm. It was the Li family elder? Impossible, Li family elder's vital energy was so weak. Zhou family elder frowned. Right, it definitely can't be him. Who is playing tricks? Zhang family elder hollered coldly, his voice was really loud and reverberated around. You 2 juniors, I haven't died yet and you dare to provoke us at our home, are you asking to die? Li family elder said coldly. He walked out of the manor and a cold glow shot out of his eyes. Zhang family and Zhou family elders' faces sunk as they looked at Li family elder, who was brimming with life. They exchanged glances with one another in disbelief. Impossible, his lifespan limit has been reached. When I saw him last year, his vital energy was dropping and weakening, he wasn't like this. Zhang family elder's eyebrows locked and he didn't dare to believe it. Stop priding yourself on being older than us, we are all Dao pursuing realm, so you scolding us like we are your juniors is just too preposterous. Zhou family elder said coldly and unhappily. The Li family elder laughed with disdain, and his eyes were filled with mockery, we are all Dao pursuing realm, but does that mean we are all on the same level? If I hadn't reached the limit, would you dare to fight me? Is grade 9 the same as the initial and middle stages? If I wanted to kill you, do all of you think you can run? Li family elder's gaze became violent all of a sudden. Chapter 4, Li Xiandao appears. Li family elder was at grade 9 of Dao pursuing realm and had nearly broken through to the next realm. If not for his vital energy weakening and having no energy to support himself, he wouldn't have become older and died. Now that he bought 5 years of lifespan from Li Xiandao, although he was unable to break through, he would maintain this level of strength for 5 years. The Li family elder would still be able to use his cultivation to suppress the Zhou family and Zhang family elders. Stop being so arrogant. I don't believe that you still have your past strength, even if you didn't break through. Zhang family elder didn't believe that Li family elder could go against the natural laws of the world. Dao pursuing realm, be it grade 1 or grade 9, would allow one to live for 300 years. The 300-year limit was something that even people from the ancient lands or top experts couldn't escape. Unless one broke through into the next realm. But the Li family elder didn't, and he was 300 years old this year. He would definitely die. He must have been faking it. He used some stimulants to temporarily raise his state to scare them off. Zhou family elder and Zhang family elder thought the same thing. Li family elder was definitely faking it. Age-abusing old damn thing, no matter what you say or do today, Li family will be wiped out. Zhou family elder gave a cruel and vicious smile. Why bother talking nonsense with him? No matter what, he won't be able to change the 300-year limit and he will definitely die today. Zhang family elder said coldly. Li family elder said respectfully, right, I can't change that. There are many things in the world that I can't change, but some other people can. Li family elder thought back to the Bank of the Universe, about Li Xiandao, and also about that contract. He signed it and he had 5 more years to live. During those 5 years, he would maintain at this peak. That was just unbelievable. This simple contract changed things that the ancient lands couldn't change. Just thinking about all of this, the Li family elder felt even more respect toward the Bank of the Universe. He definitely couldn't offend them. Since all of you won't accept death until you see it happen, then I will grant your wishes. Energy surged in Li family elder's body. The long-lost but familiar power returned as he used the technique that made him famous. Yellow Sand 100 Battles. Explosion. A punch covered the area in front of him. At that moment, yellow sand spread out and his fighting spirit rose to its peak. That fist was really powerful. It was the peak punch from a grade 9 Dao pursuing realm expert. The area in front of the Li family manor became a desert that covered all the Zhang and Zhou family members present. This fist made it hard for anyone who was weak to breathe. The expressions of the two elders changed. They realized that they were wrong. The Li family elder wasn't faking it. He had really recovered to his peak. This yellow sand 100 battle fist technique was something they had heard about but had never seen. Now that they saw it, it was really worthy of its fame. Overbearing. Flourishing. Surging. Li family elder's vital energy was like a blazing flame. How did he even look like an old man who was coming to the end of his life? Heaven's secret sword. Zhou family elder pulled out his precious shining long sword, and used a sword technique to block that fist. Zhang family elder did too. His body was fast like lightning as he flew over and attacked. He used a fierce heart-piercing fist. He still didn't believe what was happening and he wanted to kill the Li family elder. Pa! But at the next moment, the Li family elder grabbed the air in front of him. His dry palm was like cold iron, clutching Zhang family elder's fist before twisting it. Kaka! Zhang family elder's arm instantly cracked, making him cry out in pain. The Li family elder's strike destroyed his whole arm. As for the Zhou family elder, he took the yellow sand 100 battle head-on and was crushed instantly. He got beaten up so badly that he lost his sense of direction. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and his sword also fell to the ground. The area around was totally silent. The people from Zhou and Zhang families looked on in shock. Their elders were both injured, one was screaming while the other was spitting out blood. They all couldn't bear to watch. As for Li family elder, he stood in the middle. His legs didn't even shift a single bit. As he said, the two other elders didn't have the right to show off in front of him. Tell me, how should I deal with all of you? Li family elder said coldly. Zhou family elder and Zhang family elder were both defeated, their hearts were in despair. Would begging work? The Li family elder was decisive and would definitely wipe out their families. You know that begging is useless, so you aren't going to beg, right? Li family elder laughed. The Zhang family elder said with his ashen white face, we lost today. All of us are vicious people and we know that in the end, your Li family will be the biggest in this Taikang city. The only thing I don't understand is who can allow you to go against the laws of the world. Zhou family elder asked with a defeated tone. Without that person, the Li family elder would be dead and they would be able to successfully split the spoils. The Li family elder said solemnly, it is best if all of you don't know about that mysterious place. Now, all of you will die. Li family elder said coldly. Slow down, let me kill him. Suddenly, a voice spread over, stunning everyone. Li family elder frowned and looked at the person who came. Everyone looked at him and without exception, they all frowned. Zhou family young master said weirdly, Li Xiandao, didn't I kill you? Zhou family elder looked at Li Xiandao in disdain, directly ignoring him. He was a servant for them in the past. Li family elder wanted to scold him. A slave without cultivation dared to butt in? But at the next moment, Li Xiandao took out something which caused Li family elder's eyes to jump. A watch. A watch that beeped. A red watch. Li family elder was smart. The disdain disappeared right away and he ran to Li Xiandao. Saying respectfully, you are the envoy. These scenes stunned everyone. Li family members exchanged glances with one another, what was going on? Their elder. Their invincible elder. Was actually so respectful to a slave without cultivation? Zhou family young master was stunned. In his eyes, Li Xiandao was a slave who could be casually beaten up and killed. Li family elder was a Dao pursuing realm expert that was high and mighty. There was totally no connection between the two. One was up above in the heavens. One was on earth. But now, this heaven was behaving so respectfully to the earth, not daring to go against him at all. Were his eyes playing tricks on him or was something wrong with the world? Both the Zhou family elder and Zhang family elder were stunned as they looked at the scenes in front of them. What was going on? Li Xiandao was calm and kept the watch. Did you prepare the spirit meridian? Li family elder said respectfully, yes, it is inside the Li family manor. Li Xiandao nodded and then he looked toward the Zhou family people coldly. This Zhou family young master was the one who killed him. Without the Bank of the Universe, Li Xiandao would be gone already. Can I kill them? Li Xiandao asked Li family elder. Of course, go ahead. I will help you suppress them. I will kill whoever dares to resist right away. Li family elder said without hesitation. He didn't dare to offend Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao didn't have cultivation. But behind him was the mysterious Bank of the Universe. That owner with the gold mask was definitely a peak expert. Li Xiandao was his envoy and even if he didn't have cultivation, Li family elder had to serve him well. Chapter 5, Will Take Revenge. The other Li family members looked at Li Xiandao. The Zhou family members looked at Li Xiandao. The Zhang family members looked at Li Xiandao. No one expected that a slave with a lowly identity like Li Xiandao could actually cause the Li family elder to listen to him so respectfully. Especially the Zhou family young master. His face froze as he looked at Li Xiandao. There were waves surging inside his heart and there was a bitter taste in his mouth. Li Xiandao was his family's slave. His grandfather sold himself to Zhou family, so for the next 3 generations, they all had to be their slaves. Li Xiandao's grandfather was killed by him when he was young. Li Xiandao's father was heavily injured by a slap from him when he was angry 3 years ago. His injuries weren't treated and he died in the end. Li Xiandao was trying to learn cultivation techniques in secret. He found out and thus, Li Xiandao was beaten half to death and tossed to the cemetery with dying breaths. Zhou family young master didn't expect that Li Xiandao would actually survive. He shivered, Li Xiandao, you were raised by my Zhou family. Your father and your grandfather were raised by us. Without us, your grandfather would have died long ago. Your father and you wouldn't have even existed. Li Xiandao laughed coldly, so I need to thank you. Zhou family young master said right away, I don't need you to thank me, I am just asking you not to kill me. He was afraid of dying. He was really afraid of dying. He lived arrogantly for decades and he didn't want to die. Li Xiandao said solemnly, you asked me not to kill you, but when you were killing my grandfather, my father, and I, why didn't you think about all this? Zhou family young master's face turned white and he stammered, those were misunderstandings, I have never done that. See. Aren't you alive and well now? Killing intent appeared in Li Xiandao's eyes, if not for a lucky encounter, my soul would be up in the heavens. You want me to let you live? Wishful thinking. Not only you, today none of the Zhou family people can live. I will kill you and wipe out the Zhou family today. Li Xiandao said cruelly. His voice wasn't loud but it was powerful, causing the hearts of all Zhou family members to jump. They all looked toward him in fear. Li family elder looked at Li Xiandao and his eyes shone brightly. This Zhou family slave was originally going to be killed by the Zhou family young master. But the owner of Bank of the Universe saved him, giving him a new life as an envoy. What a huge fortuitous encounter! Li family elder made up his mind, even if Li Xiandao had no cultivation, he couldn't offend him. Zhou family young master shivered as he looked at Li Xiandao. You really want to force us to a corner and kill us? Force you to a corner and kill you? Li Xiandao laughed coldly and found it funny. He beat him up till he was on his last breath and tossed him at the unmarked burial ground to fend for my own. Wasn't that forcing me to a corner and killing me? Li family elder, do you have a sword? Li Xiandao asked coldly. This is my special sword. Li family elder took out his precious sword and passed it to Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao causally took it, slashing down while the Zhou family young master looked at him in terror. A head rolled onto the ground. 10 years wasn't long for a gentleman to take revenge. A despicable person, however, found just 1 day too long. Li Xiandao was neither. He didn't have a chance so he bared with the hatred and now when he had a chance to take revenge, he gave a lethal strike. He definitely wouldn't give him a chance to argue. As the 9th master of the Bank of the Universe, his future was limitless. Zhou family young master wasn't worth anything in his eyes. Li family elder, kill everyone and then pass the spirit meridian to me. After Li Xiandao killed the Zhou family young master, he said lazily. The person he hated the most was already killed by him. Li Xiandao wasn't interested in killing the others so he let Li family elder do it himself. He just wanted to get the spirit meridian and head back to Bank of the Universe to study it. Okay, envoy please wait for a moment. I will be very quick. Li family elder's words were true. He really was quick. The long sword was really sharp and he was also a peak Dao pursuing realm expert so no one could fight him. This was a massacre. It lasted just a minute and everyone from the Zhou and Zhang families were killed. They were all dead from one strike. There was not much blood and they died very quickly, stunning people from Li Manor. Envoy, I have killed them all. After Li family elder killed them, he said respectfully. Okay, pass the high-quality spirit meridian and I will leave. Don't tell anyone about us. Li Xiandao said calmly, his attitude was really cold. It was like he was the peak Dao pursuing realm expert and the Li family elder had no cultivation. Li family elder didn't mind. He had passed the stage of being rash. So what if Li Xiandao was cold? He just had to be a little warmer. It is in the secret room of the manor and is sealed with a formation. Please follow me over to take it. Li family elder said. Li Xiandao nodded his head and followed him into the Li Manor secret room. 10 meters deep underground was a wide secret room. On the walls were many lines, forming a formation. At the center was the high-quality spirit meridian. A dragon-like spirit meridian was trapped in the secret room by numerous formations. Li family elder said, this is a high-quality spirit meridian core. With this, if you place it in any mountain region, it would cause the area to be brimming with spiritual energy. If I absorbed it on my own, it would be enough for me for 10 years. This was a decent high-quality spirit meridian. The scale was good too. A less than 100-meter core being able to support a Dao pursuing realm expert for 10 years. It could be considered a real treasure. Li Xiandao nodded his head in satisfaction and said, then, I will take it. Li family elder said respectfully, I have already traded it away, so you can take it anytime. Li Xiandao was satisfied with his attitude. He waved his hand and the power of Bank of the Universe was activated. Explosion. The spirit meridian moved flying into a hole that appeared above before disappearing. All of this was completed under the gaze of the Li family elder, but he was unable to notice any cracks or tremors. Both the spirit meridian and Li Xiandao disappeared. Li Xiandao entered Bank of the Universe without Li family elder realizing it. As expected, I can't offend them. Bank of the Universe is really deep and immense. Li family elder shivered as he said. Bank of the Universe. The moment Li Xiandao entered, he saw the huge changes behind the main hall. A room appeared. Li Xiandao said in confusion, what is that? 7 said, Master, that is Time Hall. It is a place to store time. A place to store time. Li Xiandao's eyes lit up. Is there a lot of time here? Li Xiandao asked right away. He lacked time. His first trade was done with 5 years of his lifespan. If there was a lot of time here, then he didn't need to sell his lifespan. In the past, the main hall had billions of years, but now there are only 100. 7 said helplessly. Li Xiandao said happily, 100 years is enough. With this, we have something to trade with. Chapter 6, Spirit Illusion Holy Land's Debt. Oh right, how did this time hall appear? Li Xiandao asked curiously. A high-quality spirit meridian helped open the seal of the time hall. 7 replied. Are there any other things that were sealed? Li Xiandao asked. There are many sealed because the Bank of the Universe wasn't run well and there are many bad resources and bad debts. While clearing those debts, the Bank of the Universe could only use most things as collateral. As such, only the main hall was left. 7 was helpless. Now as there is a high-quality spirit meridian, you have barely managed to open the seal of the time hall. 7 said. So, the high-quality spirit meridian that I received from the trade is gone? Li Xiandao asked. It is gone. 7 nodded her head. One high-quality spirit meridian unlocked the time hall and gave me 100 years of lifespan. I think it is still quite worth it. Li Xiandao thought about it and found it reasonable. Master, now that you have taken revenge, it is time to help the Bank of the Universe clear our bad debts and to collect some old debts. 7's eyes lit up as she looked at Li Xiandao. They are all experts in the celestial world, celestial kings, fairies, so how am I supposed to collect them? Li Xiandao shook his head. If he collected debts from them, then wasn't he asking for death? 7 said, those are the ones that you can't get back for now, but you can choose to collect from the weaker ones. There are some who are not strong. Li Xiandao exclaimed. He couldn't offend those people in the celestial world, but as for those weaker ones, he didn't mind trying. If he managed to get back some debts, he would be able to reduce his current problems. 7 nodded and said proudly, the Bank of the Universe's debts in the past spread all over the 9 skies and 10 earths. Every single person would come to trade with us and naturally we would have a lot of debts to claim. Li Xiandao said, how about this, why don't you find a weaker debt for me and I will try to claim it back? The weaker ones that Li Xiandao knew of should have been beneath Dao Pursuing Realm. For such debts, he could crack his brains and he would be able to take it back. After all, at the moment, he had no cultivation and he hadn't cultivated anything yet. A moment later, 7 passed Li Xiandao a contract. Li Xiandao opened it and his eyebrows rose up. He closed it and said softly, did you get it wrong or something? No. 7 shook her head in a well-behaved manner. Li Xiandao opened the contract and he saw a few large words on the cover. Spirit Illusion Holy Land. In this Dali land, their name was like thunder to the ears. Even a slave, like Li Xiandao, had heard of them before. They inherited the 100,000-year ancient Holy Land, Spirit Illusion. They were one of the stronger powers in Dali land with hundreds of thousands of disciples. It was a supreme place that managed 100 countries with billions of civilians. How could such an ancient holy land have been weak? Li Xiandao stared at 7, he was really furious deep down. Was she trying to make a joke out of him? 7 explained, this is the weakest out of all the debts. The 10th Elder of Spirit Illusion Holy Land borrowed a celestial artifact from the Bank of the Universe 10,000 years ago to suppress the rebels of Spirit Illusion Holy Land. The price to pay was that Spirit Illusion Holy Land would be slaves for the Bank of the Universe's owner for 1,000 years. The cost of going against it would be 10 times, 10,000 years. Li Xiandao pouted, loan one celestial artifact and be under us for 10,000 years. That's right, I was the one who welcomed him 10,000 years ago. We loaned the celestial artifact out and were prepared to collect it back along with interest 50 years later. But the owner died and the Bank of the Universe funds were cut off. They forgot about this matter and didn't contact us at all. 7 nodded his head. This Spirit Illusion Holy Land is an ancient holy land, I don't even have any cultivation at all. If I go over and ask them to pay up now, who would even bother about me? Li Xiandao frowned. He was really rational. Even if one had a contract that was in black and white, Spirit Illusion Holy Land might not have cared about it. That was because Li Xiandao was too weak. An ancient holy land that was so strong. How would they be willing to be ordered around by a kid with no cultivation at all? Pipe dream. 7 smiled sweetly, Master, you are now the owner of the Bank of the Universe. In this world, no one is more noble than you. If Spirit Illusion Holy Land doesn't abide by the contract, then you will just take the celestial artifact back. I can take it back. Li Xiandao found it really weird. Of course, Spirit Illusion Holy Land isn't that strong, so naturally the celestial artifact wouldn't recognize it. 7 walked beside Li Xiandao's ear and muttered, telling him the secrets of the Bank of the Universe. As the owner of the Bank of the Universe, naturally, Li Xiandao controlled everything that belonged to the Bank of the Universe. Even celestial artifacts were no exception. After understanding all this, Li Xiandao's eyes lit up. He had found a way to deal with Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Then, let's head over there and ask for our debts. I am really interested in allowing a huge holy land to become my slave. Li Xiandao said in anticipation. For them to be able to serve you is their luck and fortune. 7 said expressionlessly. Li Xiandao nodded his head. As the owner of the Bank of the Universe, if he became stronger and decided to give gifts to Spirit Illusion Holy Land, those gifts would be amazing rewards too. Let's go to Spirit Illusion Holy Land now. Li Xiandao headed out of the Bank of the Universe and went on his way. Spirit Illusion Holy Land. One of Daliland's ancient holy lands. Spirit Illusion Holy Land was located on an ancient battlefield. Its first sect leader Spirit Illusion established the sect here and worked really hard. Over 10,000 years, he turned his self-created sect into a holy land. After which, every 10,000 years, a new sect leader would bring Spirit Illusion Holy Land forwards. The cycle repeated and they were at the 10th sect leader now. 10,000 years ago when he initially took over, there was a rebellion in Spirit Illusion Holy Land. He was newly appointed and didn't have the ability to deal with such a big rebellion. So, he found the Bank of the Universe and became their slave for 10,000 years, in order to borrow a celestial artifact to appease the rebellion. But the Bank of the Universe experienced some problems and the Spirit Illusion Holy Land sect leader stopped contacting them. He was prepared to bury this matter in the dust. This was a bad debt. The former owner died because of these bad debts. Thus, Li Xiandao made his mind up to get all these debts back. Chapter 7, Lady Ah Ching. Spirit Illusion Holy Land was an ancient battlefield to the east of Daliland. It took decades to travel there from Li Xiandao's area. Taikeng City was so small that it couldn't get any smaller. But Spirit Illusion Holy Land was different. There were billions of people under them and they were a really strong power. Li Xiandao had no cultivation and couldn't fly at all. Taikeng City was also really secluded and extremely far away from Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Master, you can use the teleportation formation. Each land has a teleportation formation and it is much better than you rushing over there alone. 7 told Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao frowned and said, but I have no spiritual source to pay. One needed a spiritual source to make a teleportation formation. Spiritual source was the basic currency in 9 skies and 10 earths. Cultivators used it to cultivate while normal people used it to trade. Li Xiandao had no money at all. The only high-quality spirit meridian he had was used to recover the time hall. I have 2 more watches, so let's use one to trade. Li Xiandao thought about it and took out a red watch. He used it to record what he wanted to trade and tossed it out. Hong! The watch disappeared from the air and Li Xiandao silently paid attention to it. 7 said, as long as Master collects the debt from Spirit Illusion Holy Land, you would be able to solve the current predicament. Ding! In less than 3 seconds, news spread from the watch. He had found a new trade target. Daliland, in a cave that was rich in spiritual energy. A white-haired beauty looked at the setting sun which gave off a blood color. I have stunned the worlds for years. I have been invincible for 3,000 years. I have the heart of a fairy, but I have been tainted by humanity. I was trying to break through to become a celestial, but due to the dirt in my soul, it caused me to suffer from a backlash. I don't have long to live. The white-haired beauty was unwilling to die. Her eyes were filled with pride. Although she was a woman, she had never felt that she was weaker than anyone else. She was a genius 3,000 years ago. Then, all top talents and primordial monsters were trampled beneath her feet. She was invincible in the world. She had many suitors, but she wasn't attracted to any of them. My only desire in the world is to ascend the heavens and cross into the celestial world, to become the top female. The white-haired woman coughed up blood. Even though she was heavily injured, the flames in her heart weren't extinguished. She defeated numerous enemies to reach such a stage, so how would she be willing to die here? If I can survive this, I will complete all my desires before heading for the celestial path. I will let the celestials above the 9 skies know how terrifying I am. The white-haired female was still really proud. But she really didn't have any time left. She failed to break through and the 5 curses of humanity fell on her, causing her hair to instantly turn white. Her life force was swiftly running out. The 5 curses of humanity swallowed her life force bit by bit. Her vision slowly became a blur. In the future, will the people still remember this era when a girl named Qing shocked the world? The white-haired Qing slowly closed her eyes. The moment her life was about to end, she saw a red glow. The red light was covering an exquisite watch. For some reason, Qing gained a bit of strength to grab that watch. She pressed it. She had a feeling in her heart that grabbing this watch was like grabbing onto hope. Hong! But in the next moment, under the impact of the 5 curses, she closed her eyes. Qing opened her eyes and to her shock, realized that she didn't die. There was a table in front of her and there was a guy sitting upright behind the table. He gave off an aura that was as deep as an ocean, he was extremely hard to read and wore a gold mask. One couldn't see his looks clearly. Beside the guy was an extremely beautiful girl. Qing was a girl and even she had to admit that this girl was really beautiful. She was like a girl who had personally been shaped by the heavens. Everything in the world that was beautiful was shown on her body. Qing exclaimed and asked, "Where is this place?" "The Bank of the Universe." Xiandao said calmly. "The Bank of the Universe, and what do you do?" Qing frowned. She had never heard of such a place. Everything in the world can be traded here at the Bank of the Universe. "What do you want to trade?" Xiandao asked. Qing's eyes lit up and said, "I want to trade lifespan." "Can I do that?" Qing really lacked lifespan. If not for the watch from Bank of the Universe, under the effects of the 5 curses, she would have already died. "Yes, but what price can you pay?" Xiandao asked. Qing was stunned. What could she pay? "What do you need?" Qing asked Xiandao. Xiandao said calmly, "Spiritual source, how much will you give for 100 years of lifespan?" Qing lowered her head and thought about it. "I will give you 1,000,000 god sources." Xiandao's face twitched and he cursed in his heart. The lowest source was low-quality source stone, then medium quality, then high quality, then top quality. Then, was saint source and god source. One god source was as good as one low-quality spirit meridian. 1,000,000 god sources, what scale was that? 100 god source was worth one high-quality spirit meridian. 1,000,000, that was just a huge sum. Xiandao kept silent for 3 seconds and nodded, "Okay." 7 took out the contract and said, "If you confirm that there is nothing wrong, then please sign." Qing looked carefully, the contract was really simple. 1,000,000 god sources in exchange for 100 years of lifespan. After Qing looked at it, she said, "But I don't have 1,000,000 on me right now." Xiandao wasn't furious, but he just looked at Qing silently. "But give me a day, I will bring 1,000,000 over." Qing was firm. Xiandao thought about it and said, "Okay, but you need to pay some deposit." "I only have 1,000 god source on me, just treat this as the deposit." Qing passed a storage bracelet to Xiandao. 7 took it and checked it, before nodding to Xiandao. Xiandao said with satisfaction, "Sign it." "After signing, I will give you 100 years of lifespan." Qing signed without hesitation. Xiandao admired her decisiveness. He stood up and walked to her. He placed his long fingernail on the top of her head. The white-haired Qing, who was extremely beautiful and had top cultivation, suddenly became nervous. She felt like all of this was not real. However, since she was on the verge of death, she chose to accept it and to believe it was true. But even at this moment, she still felt a little nervous. If this was fake and she was being lied to, then she was really going to die. But the moment Xiandao started to inject 100 years into her, she felt her condition improving. Xiandao was really chasing away the 5 curses. Her white hair was recovering, being replaced with black hair. A top beauty was recovering her past luster. Qing was stunned as she looked at all this. Was this Bank of the Universe owner a celestial? He could actually force away the 5 curses. That was so unbelievable. Chapter 8, Qing's story. Qing knew that even celestials were really afraid of the 5 curses. Qing once witnessed a celestial falling from the celestial world because of it. In the process, his 5 organs were burned and he died a terrible death. But now, the 5 curses, which even the celestials were afraid of, were so easily resolved by the Bank of the Universe's owner. How strong was the mysterious golden masked man? Qing didn't dare to imagine it. She only knew that she had obtained 100 years of lifespan and could try to enter the celestial realm once more. That was enough. The price to pay was a million god source, which Qing didn't have, but other people did. Since Qing's enemies had god source, if she took it and passed it to the Bank of the Universe, that wouldn't be considered going against the contract. In truth, Li Xiandao wasn't strong at all. He didn't even take his first steps in cultivating. However, all of this didn't matter as he was a god in the Bank of the Universe. The only god. After transferring the remaining 100 years of lifespan from the time hall to Qing, Li Xiandao stopped. From now onwards, you will have an additional 100 years to live. After which, the 5 curses will still descend on you. Li Xiandao said calmly. Li Xiandao gave Qing the 100 years of lifespan. Qing didn't make Li Xiandao remove the 5 curses, which was why 100 years later, it would still fall upon her. Qing smiled and her white hair disappeared. She was a quiet lady and one wouldn't be able to imagine that she was someone who had touched the cusp of celestial realm. 100 years is enough. In these 100 years, I will step into celestial realm and then counter the 5 curses. Li Xiandao was really impressed by Qing's confidence. Such a beautiful girl with a heart filled with ambition and a willingness to fight and work hard. No matter how one looked at it, she was a really charming girl. After I get a million god source, how will I find you? Qing asked Li Xiandao. Go and find my envoy. Li Xiandao thought about it and said. Your envoy? Qing frowned and said, where? I am sending him to Spirit Illusion Holy Land to collect debts. Just find him and pass the god source to him. Li Xiandao said calmly. He was prepared to create a sub-personality to be the owner of the Bank of the Universe while his main one would be the envoy, running about on the outside. Spirit Illusion Holy Land. I heard that they are holding a Spirit Illusion Assembly, inviting everyone from all areas to witness the birth of a new sect leader. Qing thought about it and said. Spirit Illusion Assembly. Li Xiandao's brow rose up. Spirit Illusion Holy Land is a holy land in Dali Land. It is a first-grade sect and every 10,000 years, they hold a Spirit Illusion Assembly to choose a new sect leader, who will inherit the main hall and lead Spirit Illusion Holy Land for the next 10,000 years. Qing spoke continuously. Li Xiandao understood and didn't say anything. Spirit Illusion Holy Land holding the Spirit Illusion Assembly had nothing to do with him at all. I also heard that the new sect leader from Spirit Illusion Holy Land would be binding with the Heaven Emperor brush. Qing said. Li Xiandao's brow rose and he said, binding with the Heaven Emperor brush. Heaven Emperor brush was the celestial artifact that the Bank of the Universe loaned to Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Yes. The sect leader of this generation got the Heaven Emperor brush from an ancient ruin, and he used its strong powers to suppress everyone who tried to revolt 10,000 years ago. For it to be passed on to the next sect leader makes sense. Lady Qing nodded her head. Makes sense. Li Xiandao laughed coldly. Is there something wrong? Qing found it weird and asked. Heaven Emperor brush was something the sect leader of this generation borrowed from my Bank of the Universe. He broke the contract and didn't return it. This time I am sending my envoy to take it back and also demand he pay the price for breaking the contract. Li Xiandao said coldly. Qing was shocked, so the Heaven Emperor brush was borrowed from the Bank of the Universe? I was wondering how the Spirit Illusion Holy Land sect leader was so lucky to get such a strong celestial artifact. Li Xiandao waved his sleeves and said coldly, since they went against the contract, naturally, the Bank of the Universe has to punish them. Now that you have acquired your 100 years of lifespan, I hope that you won't break the agreement. Qing raised her hand and said, I am a trustworthy person and I will do what I have said I would. Now, I will go and get your million god source right away. Li Xiandao nodded his head in satisfaction. He waved his sleeves, causing her body to become paler and paler before she slowly disappeared. In the cave in Dali Land that was brimming with spiritual energy, Qing appeared and looked at herself in shock. All my injuries have healed. This is just so unbelievable, it feels like a technique of the gods. Lady Qing touched her body as she exclaimed. She squinted and thought back to Li Xiandao's gold mask and that terrifying aura that was as deep as the ocean. A consciousness rose from the depths of her heart, telling her that she couldn't go against him. I need to gather the million god source. The place with the most is Xiandao sect. Qing smiled. It was evident that she had targeted Xiandao sect. Xiandao sect acts arrogantly and does whatever they want. They abuse the fact that they have a celestial backing them and they behave in an overbearing manner. Numerous people hate them to the bone, so I am just robbing the rich and helping the poor. Qing consoled herself. With a flash, her body broke through the sky. She was going to steal a million god sources from Xiandao sect. In the Bank of the Universe, after Qing left, Xiandao took off his mask. Spirit Illusion Holy Land actually wants to hold a Spirit Illusion Assembly to choose a new sect leader, and they also want to bind the Heaven Emperor brush. That is so preposterous. Xiandao said coldly. Seven nodded her head and said furiously, we have to punish them. It seems like they thought that since Bank of the Universe wasn't asking them to pay their debts, they would just treat the Heaven Emperor brush as their own. Going against the contract and not paying back debts. Now, they even want to bind to my Heaven Emperor brush. This time, I will make them pay the price. Xiandao laughed coldly. Although he had no cultivation. Although Spirit Illusion Holy Land was high above. Xiandao had the Bank of the Universe, which was nobler than anyone else. Master, here is 1000 God Source. You can use the teleportation formation to head to Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Seven said. Xiandao nodded his head and his real body exited the Bank of the Universe, heading toward the nearest teleportation formation. Teleporting 10,000 miles would use one high-quality source stone. The number of God Source that Xiandao took out was enough for him to teleport over to Spirit Illusion Holy Land. When he heard that Xiandao was about to head to Spirit Illusion Holy Land, the manager of the teleportation formation smiled, Kid, you want to go there to find a master, right? Unfortunately, you are a little old. Xiandao smiled, I am not going there to find a master, I am going there to collect a slave. The manager was totally confused, collecting a slave? Xiandao smiled and didn't explain. If he told him that he was going to make a holy land, which had lasted for 100,000 years, become his slave, others would think that he had gone crazy. Only after this matter was completed would people believe him. Chapter 9, Normal People and the Holy Land. In the northwest region, there was a big city within the mountains. Different from small cities like Taikang City, this large city could house millions of people. It was surrounded by mountains with many curved mountain paths, making it hard to enter. This was why this large city had 4 teleportation formations. This city was called Spirit Illusion City. Spirit Illusion Holy Land was between the mountains in the distance, which was why even though the city was secluded, there were still many who visited. Xiandao walked out from the teleportation formation, and right away, he saw the logo of Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Spirit Illusion Holy Land's control of this large city could be seen from all of this. Spirit Illusion City was really busy, especially since Spirit Illusion Holy Land was about to switch sect leaders. As such, many people from all around were invited to witness it. Spirit Illusion City was the place where people had to arrive before they were able to enter Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Xiandao stood on the streets and looked at the many happy Spirit Illusion Holy Land outer sect disciples. The huge Holy Land was split into the inner sect and outer sect. The inner sect was split into normal disciples and core disciples. There was a clear distinction between each, so without talent and resources, one could forget about crossing over into the next grade. Luckily, Xiandao didn't have to go through all of this. Looking at all this, all these people would be his slaves from now onward. Thinking about it, Xiandao walked towards Spirit Illusion Holy Land excitedly. They wanted to bind the Heaven Emperor brush that belonged to him, how preposterous. He had to teach them a heavy lesson. Xiandao strolled forwards and didn't remain in Spirit Illusion City. Instead, he walked toward the endless mountains in the distance. The area beneath each of these mountains was an ancient battlefield. Throughout these 100,000 years, Spirit Illusion Holy Land's ancestors used their strong skills and abilities to shift many mountains over, forming Spirit Illusion Holy Land. This was why Xiandao was able to see these endless mountains. On the way there, Spirit Illusion Holy Land was filled with a joyous atmosphere. Some outer sect disciples discussed whether or not the new sect leader would manage to bind to the Heaven Emperor brush. This was a celestial artifact. In the entire Dali land, there were only a few celestial artifacts. After all, the weakest land in the 9 skies and 10 lands was Dali land. Spirit Illusion Holy Land was able to stabilize themselves through the rebellion largely due to the strength of Heaven Emperor Brush. A celestial artifact helped to support the luck and destiny of a holy land, so who would dare to offend them? The Spirit Illusion Holy Land ceremony would be held 15 minutes later. Now, most of the guests had arrived and the square was filled with people. Everyone came to see the sect leader bind with the Heaven Emperor Brush. Over these 10,000 years, everyone knew that Spirit Illusion Holy Land had such a celestial artifact, but no one had seen it before. Spirit Illusion Holy Land had never taken it out and used it during this period, which was why the sect leader's attempt to bind with it was his way of sending a message. Feng Luo, are you confident? Spirit Illusion Holy Land's current sect leader asked in a serious tone. The newly appointed sect leader was called Feng Luo. He wasn't that old, he was just 500 years old and had reached really high cultivation. He was supported by all the elders and was deemed the sect leader, who had the highest hope of reaching celestial realm. Sect leader Luo Shui, don't worry. No matter how amazing Heaven Emperor Brush is, it still belongs to our Spirit Illusion Holy Land. I am about to become the new sect leader, so naturally, I should be able to bind with it. Feng Luo said confidently. In his heart, he was really proud. 500 years wasn't much to a cultivator. He had cultivation that was top of the world and was now about to take over the position of sect leader. He was also about to acquire a celestial artifact as his weapon. Since he had such a smooth life, naturally, Feng Luo felt really proud. Luo Shui looked at Feng Luo and worry flashed across his brow. He couldn't tell him that Heaven Emperor Brush didn't belong to them. That year, he had paid a heavy price to get the Heaven Emperor Brush, which was long overdue. Also, the Heaven Emperor Brush stopped caring about him. 10,000 years have passed and the Bank of the Universe seems to have disappeared from the world without a sound. So, it should be okay that we aren't following the contract. Sect leader Luo Shui had some hope in his heart. He did not want to return the Heaven Emperor Brush. Spirit Illusion Holy Land was still very weak now. That rebellion 10,000 years ago. It was one that a large number of elders joined in. Although he got the Heaven Emperor Brush to suppress the rebellion, it also caused Spirit Illusion Holy Land to lose half its strength. 10,000 years and they still hadn't recovered. Till now, Spirit Illusion Holy Land was still only 70% of what it was at its peak. In Dali Land, if they only had such strength, then Spirit Illusion Holy Land should have already lost their title of Spirit Illusion Holy Land. The reason why it still had that title was because of the celestial artifact. Heaven Emperor Brush. The moment Heaven Emperor Brush was collected by the Bank of the Universe, that would be a destructive blow to Spirit Illusion Holy Land. This was why sect leader Luo Shui would hold on to some hope that he could try to go against the contents of the contract and keep the Heaven Emperor Brush in Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Even if the Heaven Emperor Brush didn't care about anyone now, it was still a huge threat when placed in Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Heaven Emperor Brush isn't so easy to use. Luo Shui reminded Feng Luo. Feng Luo didn't care at all and said confidently, Sect leader, although my strength isn't at your current level, I have reached the level of other sect leaders in Dali Land. I don't think I can make it recognize me right away, but I just hope that I can borrow some of its strength to deter the masses. Feng Luo was very confident about being able to do this. Luo Shui looked at the confident Feng Luo and he didn't know what to say. When he signed the contract, there was a privacy agreement. The Bank of the Universe wasn't allowed to reveal to anyone. Of course, since Luo Shui went against the contract and kept the Heaven Emperor Brush for 10,000 years, they wouldn't care about that clause. However, deep down, whenever he wanted to talk about the Bank of the Universe, he would feel terrified. Like the next second, the moment he dared to say that out, a terrifying punishment would descend to destroy him and the Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Go prepare. Luo Shui waved his hands, he was filled with worry but he couldn't say it out. He could only pray that this time the Spirit Illusion Assembly would be a success. Then, I will head out. The assembly has begun, sect leader please come out soon. Feng Luo turned around and left. A person appeared at the foot of Spirit Illusion Holy Land. A young man. A young man who gave off a different aura. A young man with no cultivation at all. The main mountain of Spirit Illusion Holy Land was a dragon-like mountain peak that stuck right into the clouds, standing high above. Xiandao was just a normal person, a person with no cultivation at all. A holy land was right in front of him and the mortals stood before it. Mortals looked through the clouds, like they could see through the layer, and see the supreme celestial artifact at the main hall. Heaven Emperor Brush. This is a holy land. Li Xiandao placed his arms behind his back and said calmly. It is only so. Li Xiandao's eyelids drooped down and he used his heart to sense the Heaven Emperor brush. Just at that moment, in the most important main hall of Spirit Illusion Holy Land, numerous people looked at Feng Luo. Feng Luo was trying to bind with the Heaven Emperor brush, true qi surged into the Heaven Emperor brush, but it was like a dirt cow entering the ocean, there was no movement at all. Feng Luo's heart slowly turned cold and sank. He realized that the Heaven Emperor brush wasn't easy to bind to. Even if he injected all his true qi in, he couldn't see any movement at all. Explosion! In the next moment, Heaven Emperor brush moved. It gave off an eye-catching light that shone brightly all around, lighting up half the sky. An invincible god spirit appeared. One couldn't see its looks but it held onto the brush, not moving at all, and a deterring aura started to cover the entire area. Everyone at the Spirit Illusion Assembly looked on in shock. Who knew that the new sect leader of Spirit Illusion Holy Land could actually activate Heaven Emperor brush? Feng Luo himself was stunned. When he injected true qi into the Heaven Emperor brush, it was like a dirt cow entering an ocean, they were nowhere to be seen. So, how could he even manage to activate the Heaven Emperor brush? He, himself, was unsure about what was going on. Chapter 10, Do you recognize that thing? The phenomenon that the Heaven Emperor brush caused shocked everyone else in Spirit Illusion Holy Land. In the main hall, everyone looked on with uncertainty. They all felt the threat of the Heaven Emperor brush and their faces were filled with shock. Was this a celestial artifact? As expected, it was really strong, just a bit of suppression made them feel like their bodies were about to crack and fall apart. If it showed off its might, allowing laws to descend, then would it be able to smash everything apart? Some people who looked down on Spirit Illusion Holy Land's strength instantly retracted their thoughts. As expected, a thin camel that was about to die was still bigger than a horse. As long as Spirit Illusion Holy Land could activate this celestial artifact, no one would be able to take away its name as a holy land. Feng Luo, who was the protagonist, was totally confused. He injected a large portion of his true qi, but the Heaven Emperor brush didn't move at all. When he was in despair, the Heaven Emperor brush moved on its own. Heaven Emperor brush continued to absorb his true qi. Even if his strength reached the level of the various sect leaders in Dali Land, he couldn't support the consumption of a celestial artifact. In just a short time, Feng Luo was unable to support it anymore. He cried out, shocking everyone around. Sect leader, save me! Feng Luo hollered, stunning everyone around. Weren't you the one who activated Heaven Emperor brush? You are a victim and the Heaven Emperor brush sucks so much that you were about to die. Then, who was the one who activated the Heaven Emperor brush? Everyone looked at Luo Shui who walked out of the main hall. The savior of Spirit Illusion Holy Land was the celestial artifact Heaven Emperor brush, who he brought back during the rebellion to suppress those who rebelled. He managed to clear out the rebels and helped to make Spirit Illusion Holy Land famous once more. Luo Shui's prestige in Spirit Illusion Holy Land was not something that anyone could compare to. Everyone felt that Heaven Emperor brush belonged to Luo Shui. Now that Heaven Emperor brush was absorbing Feng Luo's true qi, Luo Shui would definitely be able to solve it. But in truth, Luo Shui looked at those scenes and he had no solution at all. Heaven Emperor brush wasn't controlled by anyone. 10,000 years ago when he brought it back, he was able to control it for 50 years. Right after the 50 years passed, Heaven Emperor brush was not under his control anymore, and it just quietly remained in Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Only the Bank of the Universe people could control the Heaven Emperor brush. Feng Luo wanted to bind it, only by binding it could one control it. What if? Luo Shui thought about a terrifying thing, and his face turned ashen white. Was the thing that he was most worried about in his heart about to happen? Sect leader, save me! Feng Luo shouted. His handsome face was twisted and he looked really tragic. Luo Shui saw the situation and slapped forward. His rumbling true qi was like flames, forming a dragon in the air which bit at the Heaven Emperor brush. He forced aside the Heaven Emperor brush and broke off its connection with Feng Luo. Heaven Emperor brush shook slightly in the air. Hong! Flames shot out, causing the giant dragon that Luo Shui formed to disappear instantly. It turned into a mist that spread out in the sky, forming a large shockwave that swept out in all directions. Like a tornado, it swept across dozens of mountains. Numerous trees were uprooted and random pieces of stone shot around. This was just a simple blow from a celestial artifact. Feng Luo was saved and he asked with uncertainty, Sect leader, what is going on? Wasn't the Heaven Emperor brush not activated? Luo Shui's expression was solemn. Someone who can activate it has come. What? Feng Luo looked at Luo Shui in confusion, his mind was filled with question marks. The other elders of Spirit Illusion Holy Land were totally confused too, they didn't understand what Luo Shui was talking about. Those people who came to spectate all asked curiously. Sect leader Luo Shui, what is going on? Sect leader Luo Shui, isn't the Heaven Emperor brush activated by people from Spirit Illusion Holy Land? Sect leader Luo Shui, you are a senior, so can you tell us juniors what is happening? Many questions rose up at once. Everyone wanted to know how a ceremony could end up like this. Heaven Emperor brush started to become restless and was uncontrolled. What did sect leader Luo Shui mean? Was Heaven Emperor brush not Spirit Illusion Holy Lands? Luo Shui didn't answer a single question, he had no energy to care about anything else. Sect leader Luo Shui's eyes stared at the steps in front of the main hall. There were 99 steps that snaked upward. At that moment, footsteps spread out from the stairs. Dong! 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 The footsteps were really light, at least in the eyes of others, it was the sound that someone with no cultivation at all would make. But to sect leader Luo Shui's ears, it was like thunder on a summer day. His face twitched and the bad feeling in his heart became increasingly intense. In his heart, a voice told him that what had to come would come in the end. But sect leader Luo Shui wasn't willing to admit it or believe it. He didn't blink as he stared at the stone steps. He clenched his fists and he was extremely nervous. Sect leader Luo Shui, who was a top expert 10,000 years ago, was actually so nervous now. Everyone couldn't help but look too. It was still the same stone steps. The only difference was that the footsteps got closer and closer. Dong! 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 The footsteps landed on the ground and everyone could hear them really clearly. Each of them had a different expression. Seeing how sect leader Luo Shui was so serious and nervous, even afraid, no one spoke. Heaven Emperor brush floated in midair and absorbed most of Feng Luo's power. It could barely allow its artifact spirit to recover and wait for its new master to arrive. Feng Luo sat on the ground, he was devoid of energy as he panted profusely. He recovered the energy he had lost and frowned as he looked on. He wanted to see who was causing problems, disturbing his most important day. The inner sect disciples, few hundred elders, and deacons, all frowned as they looked. Their hearts were filled with rage. A spirit illusion assembly was destroyed just like that, that was simply preposterous. Dong! 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 The owner of the footsteps didn't care at all. He maintained his original speed. Finally, under everyone's anticipation, he came to the middle of the square. When Li Xiandao stepped into the square, numerous gazes landed on his body. Cold. Doubt. Shock. Li Xiandao could sense all sorts of emotions. Luo Shui stood right in front of Li Xiandao amongst all these people. He was a white-haired middle-aged man, who looked quite handsome. He was slightly thin and the aura he gave off was extraordinary. After Luo Shui saw Li Xiandao, for some reason, he heaved a sigh of relief. Especially when he saw that he had no cultivation, the worry from before disappeared. Who are you? Luo Shui asked solemnly. His eyes became calm once more, he totally disregarded Li Xiandao. A mortal with no cultivation at all, why did he have to fear him? Li Xiandao looked at him calmly, and Seven's voice appeared in his mind. Master, it is him. 10,000 years ago, he was the one who borrowed the Heaven Emperor brush from me. Li Xiandao smiled as he looked at Luo Shui and said, I am someone who knows you from 10,000 years ago. Luo Shui burst out laughing, nonsense. You are immortal and only have 100 years of lifespan. How would you dare say that you met me 10,000 years ago? The people around looked at Li Xiandao with mocking expressions. Li Xiandao disregarded these looks as he spread out his arms and said, it is okay if you don't recognize me, but do you recognize this? Wang! A red watch appeared in his palm and gave off a devilish light, attracting many gazes. Among which, Luo Shui's expression was the worst. After he saw Li Xiandao's watch, his body turned soft. His thoughts instantly exploded. All those scenes from 10,000 years ago appeared in his mind like a bursting dam and he nearly fell to the ground. No, this disappeared long ago, so how would you have it? Luo Shui was in despair. He knew that he was finished. On this day, the punishment that was 10,000 years late had finally come. His joy from before was only numbing him now. Chapter 11, Not Willing to Admit. Luo Shui, who was a person at the Holy Lord level of his generation, was in total despair when he saw the blood-red watch. Feng Luo frowned and asked, "Sect leader, what is that?" The other disciples, elders, and deacons all frowned. Just one red watch terrified sect leader Luo Shui so badly? One must know that sect leader Luo Shui was the person who was able to stop the rebellion, going against the heavens and changing fate, someone who reshaped heaven and earth. Now, his legs actually went soft for a mortal? Feng Luo was really unhappy about this. Luo Shui didn't reply to Feng Luo, instead, he said bitterly, "Didn't you all disappear?" Li Xiandao laughed coldly and said, "You thought we disappeared, so you went against the contract you signed personally 10,000 years ago and treated this thing as non-existent. Do you remember the price to pay for going against the contract?" Before Luo Shui even said anything, Feng Luo shouted in rage. "How dare you, a mortal, act so arrogantly in front of my sect leader? Kneel." Li Xiandao's eyes were cold and he said casually, "You want me to kneel? I don't care who you are, but you don't even have basic cultivation and dare to behave so arrogantly here, you are just too bold." Feng Luo was really furious now, he wanted to cut Li Xiandao into 8 pieces. That was because Li Xiandao had messed up his progression to sect leader. Luo Shui was in a muddle. He knew that Li Xiandao had no cultivation and he didn't have to fear him. But the key was that Li Xiandao had brought the red watch over. Li Xiandao represented the Bank of the Universe. This was a place that Luo Shui was terrified of. Luo Shui was scared but definitely not of Feng Luo. He attacked and rage messed up his rational mind. The only thing he thought about now was to kill Li Xiandao. Hong. Feng Luo's cultivation was similar to nearly all of the sect leaders in Dali Land. This was the sect leader level combat strength, representing the average combat strength of a sect leader. When he attacked a mortal with no cultivation at all, he could wipe him out with one flick of the finger. A cold glow shot out into the skies. It was extremely quick, but at the next moment, it was in front of Li Xiandao's face. It turned into a sharp weapon that wanted to claim Li Xiandao's life. Luo Shui looked at those scenes but he didn't stop him. He made up his mind. Since I have already gone against the contract, then I will go all out. This was why he would look on as Li Xiandao was killed. At that moment, all of Spirit Illusion Holy Land looked on and they wanted Li Xiandao to die. Li Xiandao paid attention to those scenes. He didn't react at all and he wasn't surprised by Luo Shui's reaction. Naturally, he had something to rely on, for him to dare come to Spirit Illusion Holy Land. This confidence came from the Heaven Emperor brush that floated above their heads. This celestial artifact belonged to the Bank of the Universe. The Bank of the Universe was now his. This meant that the Heaven Emperor brush was his too. Facing the cold glow, Li Xiandao laughed coldly. He feared nothing and said, "It is okay that you went against the contract, but now you actually want to kill me. Today, Spirit Illusion Holy Land will face a calamity." Luo Shui said coldly, "Since I have already done it, then I won't change. You have no cultivation and can still become an envoy, which shows how much that person has weakened. Just like that and you want me to stick to the contract. Go and die." Feng Luo hollered in rage and slapped forward, wanting to smash Li Xiandao into meat paste. He didn't want to kill Li Xiandao, he wanted to smash Li Xiandao's body to pieces. Li Xiandao said calmly, "Since you are asking to die, then don't blame me." He reached out with his hand. The Heaven Emperor brush that was floating in midair suddenly moved. It slashed forward. A bright light landed. It was like sword energy which slew everything. It negated Feng Luo's attacks and then smashed forward. Explosion! An extremely deep hole appeared in the Spirit Illusion Holy Land square. The square was instantly split into 2. Li Xiandao stood on one side, perfectly unharmed and he looked forward with a cold expression. Luo Shui and Feng Luo were on the other, their mouths agape as they looked on. Feng Luo's cultivation wasn't weak, he had sect leader level strength, otherwise, he wouldn't have become the Spirit Illusion Holy Land sect leader. But Li Xiandao actually negated his furious strike. At that moment, everyone couldn't help but look toward the celestial artifact Heaven Emperor brush that was floating in mid-air. Feng Luo said in rage and shock, "How can you control my Spirit Illusion Holy Land's Heaven Emperor brush?" If Heaven Emperor brush hadn't saved Li Xiandao, then that strike would have been enough to kill Li Xiandao and smash his body to pieces. So, how did Li Xiandao make Heaven Emperor brush launch that attack? The answer to this question was something that not only Feng Luo wanted to know, but something that everyone watching wanted to know. Didn't Heaven Emperor Brush belong to Spirit Illusion Holy Land? How did an outsider, someone without cultivation, control it? Li Xiandao laughed coldly and said, Spirit Illusion Holy Land's Heaven Emperor Brush. Of course, Heaven Emperor Brush belongs to our Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Feng Luo said without any hesitation. Joke. Li Xiandao burst out laughing with disdain. Ask Luo Shui how he got the Heaven Emperor Brush. Feng Luo immediately turned toward Luo Shui, his eyes filled with doubt. Luo Shui didn't say a word. He clenched his fists in rage, but at the same time, he was very powerless. How could he reveal the background of Heaven Emperor Brush? If he said it out loud, then Spirit Illusion Holy Land's name would be non-existent. Seeing Luo Shui so silent, Feng Luo's heart sunk. Not only him, but the entire Spirit Illusion Holy Land was also stunned. Heaven Emperor Brush's ownership was a problem. This was a fatal blow to Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Li Xiandao mocked, since you don't dare to reveal it, then I will do so for you. Heaven Emperor Brush was borrowed from the power backing me 10,000 years ago. At the start, it was really clear that he would borrow it for 50 years and after that, he would return it. At the same time, Spirit Illusion Holy Land would be our slaves for 1,000 years. Li Xiandao's voice was soft but the effects it caused were no weaker than a storm. Everyone in Spirit Illusion Holy Land looked towards Luo Shui in disbelief. How could that happen? Luo Shui gritted his teeth and his eyes were red as he stared at Li Xiandao. He wanted to smash him into pieces so that he couldn't continue speaking. But could he stop Li Xiandao? Li Xiandao continued to laugh coldly. Unfortunately, Luo Shui has gone against the contract 50 years past and he actually continued to own Heaven Emperor Brush but wasn't willing to be a slave. Based on the rules of the contract, the punishment would be 10 times the amount. So today, I am here to collect the Heaven Emperor Brush, and also to collect the interest. Spirit Illusion Holy Land will be my slave for 10,000 years. Don't blame me for being rude if you don't follow. Li Xiandao said coldly. His words infuriated everyone from Spirit Illusion Holy Land and all of them looked on furiously. Feng Luo hollered, My Spirit Illusion Holy Land is an ancient holy land, how can you insult us? Today, you will definitely die. Luo Shui's eyes were filled with killing intent and he said coldly, Do you think that just because you can control Heaven Emperor Brush, you can do anything you want? Feng Luo, go kill him. I will block the Heaven Emperor Brush. I want to see who dares to make slaves of my Spirit Illusion Holy Land today. Luo Shui was totally mad. He had no respect at all, he just wanted to kill Li Xiandao and snatch the Heaven Emperor Brush. As for the contract, it was just a bunch of rubbish paper. He did sign it but what could they do if he didn't admit it? Chapter 12, Ah Ching's Helping Hand. Hong. Since Luo Shui had already made his mind up, then he wouldn't hesitate. He attacked right away. Sect leader level strength allowed him to fly into the air and he exploded his might toward the Heaven Emperor Brush. Peng peng peng. True Qi was like thunder and fire as it surrounded the Heaven Emperor Brush. Luo Shui knew that the Heaven Emperor Brush had a spirit as it was a celestial artifact and not a normal weapon. Heaven Emperor Brush, you are a noble celestial artifact. In our Spirit Illusion Holy Land, you are supreme and numerous people respect and worship you. Why do you go to that place to be ordered around and controlled? Luo Shui tried to persuade the Heaven Emperor Brush yield to the Spirit Illusion Holy Land. But he was welcomed with a cruel and cold strike. Hong! This strike was really fierce and after it exploded, it was like 10,000 strikes of lightning that wiped out Luo Shui's thunder flame true Qi. Heaven Emperor Brush was really mysterious, a supreme image appeared behind it. This was the artifact spirit, coldly staring at Luo Shui. A foolish person just being the head of Spirit Illusion Holy Land. You are just a frog at the bottom of a well and you have no chance at all of improving. Heaven Emperor Brush treated Luo Shui's suggestion with disdain and he didn't care at all. It was totally devoted to the Bank of the Universe. Luo Shui's face turned dark and his gaze was fierce and vicious, since you insist, then don't blame me for attacking you. I am nice enough to have taken care of you for 10,000 years. I worshipped you day and night, and spread your reputation around, allowing you to be high and mighty. I loved you but you didn't care about me, I didn't care as I knew that sooner or later you would be touched. But, your ex came and even if he had no cultivation at all, but you still opened your heart to him. That is just preposterous. Luo Shui was so jealous that his eyes turned red and he gritted his teeth. You forcefully kept me for 10,000 years and it wasn't on my own terms. All this was just you acting on your own accord. I will never be yours and will never belong to Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Heaven Emperor Brush said directly. I don't care. Since I can't get your soul, then I will keep your body here. I will definitely kill your EX. Luo Shui went totally mad. He jumped up like a demon and opened his arms. Heaven and Earth Seal. This was a shocking cultivation technique, and at that moment, 300 miles all around was cut off. He wanted to cut off Heaven Emperor Brush's connection with Li Xiandao so that Heaven Emperor Brush would lose its master and would be unable to act independently. At the same time, Luo Shui said cruelly, Feng Luo, kill that trash mortal. Anyone who dares to fight with Spirit Illusion Holy Land for the Heaven Emperor Brush is asking to die. Feng Luo's eyes lit up and smiled viciously, this time, you will definitely die, no one would be able to save you. Li Xiandao frowned when he saw this. He tried to sense the Heaven Emperor Brush but he actually failed to do so. Master, Heaven Emperor Brush, and your connection have been cut off. You should have kept it in the Bank of the Universe or grabbed it just now. 7 said solemnly. Li Xiandao's brow rose up and he knew that he was too careless or that his experience was not enough. He asked, is there no other method? Hide in the Bank of the Universe and avoid his attacks. Wait for Heaven Emperor Brush to break the seal and then come out. 7 thought of an idea. Li Xiandao had no cultivation and didn't have the Heaven Emperor Brush, so he couldn't block Feng Luo's strike at all. As for Feng Luo's aggressive attacks, Li Xiandao would be injured or even die from that. Li Xiandao frowned. He was extremely unwilling to hide. He announced that he was here to get a slave, but now that the slave resisted, he was going to hide? Feng Luo didn't give Li Xiandao time to think. He hated Li Xiandao to the core. It was because of him that the biggest ceremony in his life was destroyed. Feng Luo even desired to rip out Li Xiandao's heart alive. Go die! Feng Luo shot forward and was right in front of Li Xiandao in an instant. He opened his fingers and tossed out red flames. The temperature was really high and would be able to burn Li Xiandao's body into dust right away. Li Xiandao stared at him. He really didn't want to hide in the Bank of the Universe. But if he didn't, then how could he block it? Master, hide in the Bank of the Universe. 7 persuaded. Li Xiandao wanted to agree but the next second, a sharp green light landed from above. Instantly, it sliced Feng Luo's hand. Ah ah ah! Feng Luo cried out in pain and was directly forced back by this power. It was too tough to watch as he smashed into the giant hall and destroyed it. A person slowly landed, attracting the gaze of everyone present. Who is that person? She is too strong, heavily injuring Feng Luo with one strike such that he couldn't react at all. This woman is just too horrifying. This woman definitely isn't ordinary. The people around were in hot discussion, and all of them exclaimed at how strong Li Xiandao's backer was. Li Xiandao looked seriously at the girl in front of him. Ah Ching! She had just signed a contract with the Bank of the Universe, taking 100 years of lifespan. She touched Celestial Realm and for her to defeat Feng Luo was just too simple as there was no difficulty at all. Ah Ching twisted her head. She was absolutely beautiful, her face was tender and soft like a young teen. She looked totally different from before when she had white hair and she looked like she was on the verge of dying. You are the Bank of the Universe's envoy? Ah Ching asked. Li Xiandao nodded his head and his gaze was really pure. I am the newest envoy. Very good, here is a million god source, keep it. Ah Ching looked at Li and tossed him a storage treasure. Li Xiandao took it and let 7 check it. After she confirmed there was nothing wrong, she kept it in the Bank of the Universe. Okay, from now on, our contract is complete. Li Xiandao smiled and said. These million god source helped to solve Li Xiandao's problem, he had real confidence now. Ah Ching looked towards the sky, at the 300 miles that Luo Shui sealed. There was a white glow above that normal people couldn't see at all, but Ah Ching was so strong. After analyzing it, she smiled, do you need me to help you? Seeing that Li Xiandao had no cultivation at all, she wanted to sell Li Xiandao a favor. Li Xiandao shook his head, no need, they don't know how terrifying the Bank of the Universe is. They are so ignorant and aren't worthy of a single strike. Ah Ching looked on in interest and wanted to see how Li Xiandao could defeat Luo Shui and take back the bad debt. Master, you can burn God Source and activate the power of the Bank of the Universe. 7 reminded Li Xiandao. Burn. Li Xiandao said without any hesitation. He already had 1,000,000 god source and he could burn it without caring at all. 7 instantly burned 100 god source, and the explosive power from it was transmitted to the Heaven Emperor brush. Explosion. Since Heaven Emperor brush only absorbed a bit of Feng Luo's energy, it was unable to maintain too strong of an attack and tangled with Luo Shui within the 300 miles of sealed space. In the next second, power was transmitted to it through the air such that Heaven Emperor brush's strength greatly increased. With this power, Celestial Artifact's actual power was completely unbelievable. Pang! Just one attack and Luo Shui felt like his body was about to shatter. His face was filled with shock and disbelief. Just now, there were decent rallies between them, but why in the next second, did it feel like he had taken drugs? Chapter 13, Occupying Spirit Illusion Holy Land. After the injection of energy from burning the God Source in Heaven Emperor brush, this one attack heavily injured Luo Shui. All his bones were shattered and he was covered in blood. He was in a really bad state. I have locked down the area, so how did you even get energy? Luo Shui looked toward the Heaven Emperor brush in rage and shock. He had no idea how the Heaven Emperor brush got so much strength. Celestial artifacts were really strong and required a lot of energy. Even Feng Luo, who injected all his energy into the Heaven Emperor brush, could only cause it to move slightly. That little movement was already the limit. This was why Heaven Emperor brush was left by Luo Shui in Spirit Illusion Holy Land for 10,000 years. Celestial artifacts could absorb energy from heaven and earth to replenish their losses, but their master would have to allow it. A while ago, after the Bank of the Universe lost its influence, Heaven Emperor brush was unable to gain permission, so it just remained quietly in Spirit Illusion Holy Land and no one cared about it. Now that Li Xiandao arrived and activated the Heaven Emperor brush, it allowed all its power to explode out. Especially God Source, 100 of them were the equivalent to one high-quality spirit meridian. Such huge energy replenishment allowed it to show off the strength of a celestial artifact. Just one strike from it heavily injured Luo Shui. It then slashed downwards, giving off a cold glow that split open the sealed area. Explosion! The area was lit up. Heaven Emperor brush stood high above and placed pressure on the area around. It was unbeatable. Luo Shui fell onto the square and coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. He looked on in despair. He had failed. Everything was over. Li Xiandao looked at those scenes. His gaze was filled with despair and there was nothing he could say. He was the one who signed that agreement and no one had forced him to do so. After it was done, he actually regretted it. His gaze turned weak, he had asked for this and deserved to die. Did he really treat the Bank of the Universe as useless and weak, that anyone could crush them? Brush, come. Li Xiandao reached out and said calmly. Heaven Emperor brush instantly shrunk and the phenomenon disappeared. The pressure was reduced and it landed on Li Xiandao's hand. Luo Shui looked at those scenes, he was so jealous that his eyes turned red. In the end, Heaven Emperor brush still chose the Bank of the Universe. His 10,000 years of hard work had gone to waste. Luo Shui, you went against my Bank of the Universe contract and have sinned greatly. Today, I want to grant you death. Li Xiandao's face was cold and he said cruelly. Luo Shui laughed, you won but I don't admit that contract, what can you do to me? Luo Shui was going all out. Li Xiandao laughed coldly and said, do you really think the Bank of the Universe's contracts are so easy to go against? He looked around and he saw looks of fear. Li Xiandao opened his mouth and said, from now on, the 100,000 mountains of Spirit Illusion Holy Land are mine. I give you all a day to leave, otherwise, you will die. Luo Shui went against the contract, so Spirit Illusion Holy Land should have been their slaves for 10,000 years. However, Li Xiandao knew that because his cultivation was weak, he couldn't suppress these tens of thousands of disciples, but since that was the case, then he should have chased them all away. I just need the 100,000 mountains of Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Li Xiandao would use this place to reshape the Bank of the Universe's name. Luo Shui listened to Li Xiandao's words and burst into laughter, wishful thinking, Heaven Emperor brush was able to defeat me, but that is Heaven Emperor brush being skilled. But who are you even? Feng Luo climbed out from the ruins and gritted his teeth, you are just trash, relying on the Heaven Emperor brush to act like you are strong here. All Spirit Illusion Holy Land disciples, elders and deacons were furious when they heard Li Xiandao's words. Their Holy Land had been established for 100,000 years and Li Xiandao actually wanted to chase them all away and occupy their 100,000 mountains? Preposterous. Many people hated him to the bone and wanted to cut him into pieces to vent the rage in their hearts. Li Xiandao smiled and said, Heaven Emperor brush isn't yours, it belongs to us. For it to be left in your spirit illusion holy land for 10,000 years, it is probably tired to death. Today, I will show all of you Heaven Emperor brush's true powers. In everyone's eyes, Li Xiandao didn't move. He picked up the Heaven Emperor brush and wrote a word in mid-air. Death. The moment this word appeared, Feng Luo cried out. Death energy entered his body and his head and body were separated. As a celestial artifact, the strongest power of Heaven Emperor brush was the ability to change destiny. If I say that you die, then you will have to die. Luo Shui was stunned. The people from Spirit Illusion Holy Land were stunned. It was like waves appeared in the hearts of the experts who came from all around, they all didn't dare to believe their eyes. Even Lady Qing squinted her eyes and looked at the Heaven Emperor brush in envy. What a terrifying celestial artifact! At that moment, everyone knew what a celestial artifact was. The power of gods, this invincible ability, this was the power of a celestial artifact. Li Xiandao looked at Luo Shui with a calm gaze, you are next. Luo Shui was shocked. He didn't want to die too, which was why he utilized all the remaining true qi to fly away. He fled. Luo Shui actually left Spirit Illusion Holy Land and fled on his own. You can escape. Li Xiandao laughed in disdain. He raised his brush and wrote a big kill word. In the sky, along with the word appearing, a sword rain appeared. Each sword was filled with terrifying power and instantly suppressed Luo Shui. No! Luo Shui cried out and tried to fight back but it was useless. In just a short moment, Luo Shui was diced into pieces. Even his corpse was wiped out, not even a single drop was left. The whole area suddenly became silent. People from Spirit Illusion Holy Land all vented the despair in their hearts. One of them had the combat strength of a sect leader while one had the combat strength of a holy lord. Both of them actually died. They died at the hands of someone with no cultivation at all. This was too terrifying. The people who came to observe all came to a conclusion, that they couldn't offend Li Xiandao. The power that stood behind Li Xiandao couldn't be offended either. I will give you all a day to leave Spirit Illusion Holy Land. This place doesn't belong to you and whoever doesn't leave in a day will die. Li Xiandao looked around and spoke. This wasn't a discussion, this was an order. The order of death. Under Heaven Emperor Brush's threat, the people from Spirit Illusion Holy Land all felt really bitter. No matter how unwilling they were, they knew that the situation wasn't good for them. All of a sudden, a lot of people were packing up and taking away everything that they could. On the golden square on the highest peak, the space around shook and everyone fled with their tails between their legs. Only Li Xiandao and Qing were left. Li Xiandao kept the Heaven Emperor brush and placed the Heaven Emperor brush within the bank of the universe. He placed his arms behind his back and looked out at the 100,000 mountains. In the future, he would be the owner of this place. After transmigrating for 3 months, Li Xiandao finally felt a sense of belonging. One day, I will make the bank of the universe famous, I will let it return to its peak and recreate its past honor. Those things that they owe me, I will get them back one after another. Li Xiandao swore in his heart. Qing looked at Li Xiandao, her beautiful face was deep in thought. What kind of power did the Bank of the Universe possess? Mysterious and hard to read. Able to change the laws of the universe, allowing a person without cultivation to wipe out a holy land. Terrifying. Li Xiandao turned around and expressed thanks to Lady Qing. Thank you Lady Qing for saving me, take this watch. In the future, if you face danger or problems, you can choose to call on the Bank of the Universe to do one thing as repayment. Li Xiandao passed the last watch to Lady Qing and said solemnly. Chapter 14, New Guest. Li Xiandao was a person who repaid his debts and returned favors. He would take revenge when he had grievances and would also repay favors to people who helped him. The Zhou family young master had tried to kill him, so Li Xiandao killed him and the entire Zhou family was wiped out. Luo Shui and Spirit Illusion Holy Land broke the contract, so Li Xiandao killed Luo Shui and disbanded Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Now that Qing helped him, Li Xiandao gave her a watch and granted her a free trade. This was the way Li Xiandao did things. He would take revenge when needed and repay favors when needed. He didn't owe people anything and he didn't let people off either. Qing didn't reject it as it was something great. Her life was indeed saved by this watch. You have the right to give it to me. Qing looked at Li Xiandao and tried to probe at his identity. Unless one had a certain status in the Bank of the Universe, one wouldn't be able to give this watch to others. Before this, she thought that Li Xiandao had no cultivation at all, so Qing underestimated him, but now Li Xiandao was extremely important in her heart. Since I took it out, that means that I have the ability to give it to you. The Bank of the Universe is omnipotent, and in the future, you will slowly find out. Li Xiandao smiled, he was calm and confident. Qing didn't ask anything and kept the watch. She looked around and said, Spirit Illusion Holy Land is a great place with 100,000 large mountains under it. There were at least 100,000 spirit meridians and it was run by 10 generations of sect leaders. Now, it belongs to you, so what are you planning to do with it? Li Xiandao looked around, the area was vast, the mountains and rivers looked really good, and he was really energized and pumped up. The Bank of the Universe will re-announce its appearance in the world with this place as our base, to expand throughout the 9 skies and 10 lands. Who are you exactly in the Bank of the Universe? Qing couldn't hide her curiosity and asked. I am the Bank of the Universe representative and I manage everything in the mortal world. Li Xiandao smiled and said. He gave himself the identity of representative of the Bank of the Universe, to deal with mortal matters. In the dark, he was the one wearing the mask, who traded with people and dealt with all matters. This double identity could ensure Li Xiandao's safety and he could also expand the Bank of the Universe's sense of mystery. Lady Qing nodded her head and chose to believe Li Xiandao. She was unable to link Li Xiandao, who had no cultivation at all, and the Bank of the Universe owner, who wore a gold mask and had immense cultivation, together. One was up in the heavens and one was low on the earth, one wouldn't think of the two of them together at all. Then, I will leave first. Thank you for your watch. Originally, there was something I didn't dare to do, but with your watch, I can go all out. I will come and thank you again the next time we meet. Lady Qing smiled. Li Xiandao nodded his head and said, I hope that the next time we meet, you can surprise me. Li Xiandao's so-called surprise was Lady Qing breaking through and becoming a celestial. Qing's lips curled up. She was extremely beautiful, a beauty of her generation. Okay, I will work hard to give you a surprise. Qing nodded her head. She got up and flew away, disappearing into the horizon. Li Xiandao looked on silently and deep down he anticipated a day where he would roam the lands freely. Now, with the base, a million god source, and the celestial artifact Heaven Emperor brush back, it is time to open new trades to expand the Bank of the Universe. Li Xiandao was deep in thought. Master, you have no more watches. 7 reminded. He traded 2 of the 3 watches and gave Qing 1. So, he had no more watches left. How do I get watches? Li Xiandao asked. He knew that 7 definitely knew. Exchange it for God Source. 1 God Source for 1 watch. 7 giggled. Li Xiandao immediately said, give me 100. Master, you haven't opened the Bank of the Universe in the other regions, so you can only exchange for 10. 7 reminded Li Xiandao. Why only 10? Li Xiandao frowned and said. 10 is not a few. At the start, there were only 3. But you opened the time hall, so there was an increase. 7 said. So, 10 then. It doesn't matter. Li Xiandao turned around and disappeared from the area, entering the Bank of the Universe. 7 immediately took out the 10 watches and passed them to Li Xiandao. He exchanged 10 god sources for it. Li Xiandao had a million god source now and wasn't afraid to consume them, he didn't feel troubled at all. He looked at the 10 blood-red watches. He thought about it and tossed them all out at once. Go find your suitable owners and bring them to the Bank of the Universe. I will make the Bank of the Universe big, I will make it strong. Li Xiandao muttered. 7 motivated, good luck master, let the Bank of the Universe's name spread through 9 skies and 10 lands, and let the people who went against the contracts pay the price. The world was vast, everything had hope. White Emperor City was a huge city managed by Xiandao sect. In White Emperor City, there was an invincible king, he was the elder of Xiandao sect and also the manager of White Emperor City. White Emperor, Tian Guangming. But Tian Guangming and Xiandao sect's sect leader relationship wasn't good and they didn't see eye to eye. This was why he remained in White Emperor City and didn't go anywhere at all. Recently, Tian Guangming faced some problems in cultivation. He needed a large number of god sources to reach the next realm, at least 500,000 of them. Xiandao sect's sect leader rejected him right away. They had few god source and there wasn't enough for everyone. To give him 500,000 was just a pipe dream. Unless you yield to me. Tian Guangming rejected it without hesitation, which was why he was stuck in this realm, unable to improve at all. The 5,000-year-old Tian Guangming was already at the tail end of his life. He went all around to gather God Source, but it was useless and didn't help much. This made him really anxious. If this dragged on, his best chance of breaking through would disappear and the chances of failure would increase. That was something that he couldn't accept. On that day at White Emperor City's city lord residence, Tian Guangming frowned and sat on the throne. He was in a bad mood. God Source was really hard to find. Damn sect leader, to target me, you actually told others not to sell God Source to me. Damn it. Tian Guangming was filled with hatred as he gritted his teeth. His grievances with Xiandao sect had nearly reached the open stage. Without God Source, what should I do? Tian Guangming was filled with worry. If he didn't break through now, this good state would retreat and there was basically no chance of him adjusting to such a good state. Along with his limit arriving, he would only weaken and he would be unable to maintain his current peak. Wang! Just at that moment, a blood-red watch appeared in the main hall. Tian Guangming's eyes focused on it and he was immediately attracted. He saw a limitless future. Although he was usually careful, he stared at it for 15 minutes, and then he stood up and grabbed it. Hong! Tian Guangming disappeared from the city lord manor, he was totally uncontrolled and entered the Bank of the Universe. Master, the first guest is here. 7 reminded Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao tidied himself, changing into a dark shirt and put on the gold mask to meet the guest. Chapter 15, Profit Talent. In the Bank of the Universe, Li Xiandao met the new guest. A middle-aged man strolled forward confidently. He had neatly combed, white hair and his sharp eyes radiated a bright glow as his body was filled with thick vital energy. This was an expert. He was very wary, like a volcano that would explode at any moment. Underneath that calm exterior, his heart was beating quickly. Tian Guangming stared closely at Li Xiandao, who appeared and sized him up. He was able to clearly see through Li Xiandao, who was unable to hide anything at all. But he couldn't see through his foundations. In truth, within the Bank of the Universe, no one could see through Li Xiandao's foundations. Who are you? Why did you bring me here? What is your goal? Tian Guangming asked a series of 3 questions and he was totally confused. He actually couldn't leave this mysterious and weird place, which made him feel really uncomfortable. He was the elder of a top sect and his strength was really shocking. In Dali Land, he could be considered an expert, who could head to any place freely. This was the only place that Tian Guangming couldn't do whatever he wanted. Li Xiandao sat on his own seat and looked at Tian Guangming. This is the Bank of the Universe. I am the master of the Bank of the Universe. I didn't get you here, your own heart brought you here. You should ask your heart what it truly wants, don't ask me that. Li Xiandao looked at Tian Guangming, his heart was really calm. You are strong, but can you be as strong as Qing? Qing was someone who touched celestial realm, but in the Bank of the Universe, she was really well behaved. Li Xiandao didn't treat Tian Guangming any differently and just used a normal attitude with him. Tian Guangming looked at Li Xiandao in doubt, was it that red thing? Yes, that is the invitation to our Bank of the Universe. You saw it, meaning that your heart has something that you badly need, which was why that red watch appeared. Li Xiandao nodded his head. I don't need anything. Tian Guangming denied it right away. Li Xiandao didn't mind, but instead, he looked quietly at Tian Guangming. 7, who was by his side, said, the watch tells me that you need God Source, which is why it appeared. Tian Guangming frowned and he looked at Li Xiandao, what game are you playing? A fair trade. You need what we have, but you need to pay a certain price. Li Xiandao said calmly. I need an immense number of God Source, but do you have it all? Tian Guangming said with disdain. Li Xiandao waved his hands and said, since you don't believe me, then leave. Li Xiandao couldn't be bothered to continue to talk nonsense. Since Tian Guangming entered, he acted with a lot of pride in himself. He was wary, suspicious, and treated Li Xiandao as a liar. Li Xiandao was really busy. He sent out the 10 watches, meaning that many people wanted to trade with him. Since Tian Guangming wasn't willing, then Li Xiandao wouldn't force him. He immediately wanted to let him leave. Wait, master, the second guest is here. 7 suddenly said. When her words landed, a person appeared in the hall. This was a young man who was even younger than Li Xiandao. He opened his eyes wide and looked around. In his hands was a watch. Can you fulfill my wish? The young man didn't suspect anything and asked right away. Li Xiandao smiled behind that mask and said towards him, sit down and let's talk. The young man sat opposite Li Xiandao. His expression was one of panic and anxiousness. Zhou Tianyu, 16 years old, Dao pursuing cultivation. Li Xiandao saw his basic information right away and instantly his heart was filled with shock. 16 years old, Dao pursuing realm cultivation. What terrifying talent was that? Li Xiandao was 18 years old this year and didn't even have basic cultivation. He was 16 and was at Dao pursuing realm. He was the same realm as the Li family elder, who Li Xiandao first traded with. Li family elder was 300 years old while Zhou Tianyu reached it at just 16. 7 reported to Li Xiandao right away, this person has an invincible talent and has rare prophet talent. It is worth taking. Li Xiandao's eyes flashed and he memorized it. He said to Zhou Tianyu, this is the bank of the universe, everything in the world can be traded. Say what you want to trade. Zhou Tianyu obviously had problems, he was covered in wounds and he was at the low of his life. When he heard this, his face turned vicious and he said, I want to take revenge, I want to kill Xiandao Sec's young master Mingtu. He wiped out my family to snatch my fiancé. If I hadn't run quickly enough, I would have been killed. You are at Wendao realm, so killing him is not enough. I can help you but what price can you pay? Li Xiandao said calmly. As long as you can kill him, I will pay any price. Zhou Tianyu's eyes were filled with hate and desire for revenge as he said decisively. After witnessing his entire family get wiped out, his heart was consumed by the thought of revenge. He only wanted revenge, as long as he could do that, he would be willing to give up anything. When Tian Guangming saw these scenes, his brow rose up. He was a Xiandao sect elder and naturally knew who Mingtu was. He was the son of Xiandao sect's current sect leader, and was really arrogant. When he was in Xiandao sect, he retracted his arrogance, but when he left Xiandao sect, he was really overbearing and no one dared to offend him. I want to see how you would let this kid kill Mingtu. Tian Guangming laughed coldly in his heart and decided to take a look. As for Mingtu's life and death, what did it have to do with him? Tian Guangming and Mingtu's old man were enemies, so naturally, he wouldn't care about this. Li Xiandao didn't pay attention to him, his heart was targeting Zhou Tianyu's talent. Prophet. This was what Seven told Li Xiandao, this was a really rare talent. Prophet, able to see the past, present, and the future. Able to flow in the ocean of time and cultivate. Once one gets used to it, one will cultivate really quickly and one won't need to stop at all. This is a top talent and there is basically nothing better than this. Seven told Li Xiandao solemnly. Li Xiandao stared at Zhou Tianyu and said softly, I can let you personally kill Xiandao Sec's Mingtu to vent your rage and can ensure that you return peacefully. I only need you to pay one price. What is it? Zhou Tianyu said eagerly. He saw hope, no matter what, he was willing to pay the price. Tian Guangming frowned and looked on, and felt like Li Xiandao was bragging. How amazing was Xiandao sect! A top power in Dali land, extremely terrifying, much stronger than Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Zhou Tianyu was only a Dao pursuing realm kid, so how could he head to Xiandao sect to take revenge? Li Xiandao didn't bother about what Tian Guangming was thinking, he pointed forward, I want your talent. At the same time, Seven took out a contract and passed it to Zhou Tianyu. Zhou Tianyu was stunned and asked, only my talent? Right. Li Xiandao nodded his head. Zhou Tianyu obviously didn't know how terrifying his talent was. Chapter 16, Trade Complete. Truthfully, Li Xiandao also didn't know how amazing the prophet talent was. Seven explained to Li Xiandao, once the prophet talent forms, one will be able to see the past of everything, one will be able to see clearly through the nature of everything, a talent that everyone desires. From ancient times till now, there have been so few times the prophet talent appeared. In history, it was recorded that the last prophet, who had the ability to cross space and time, was from long ago in the ancient era. In this era, there are numerous geniuses and many special bodies. However, the prophet had existed long ago. Zhou Tianyu's talent obviously hasn't been developed, resulting in him not knowing how terrifying it was. Li Xiandao's eyes shone and he memorized all of it. He looked at Zhou Tianyu. Zhou Tianyu held a pen and he looked carefully at the contract. After I sign it, will you all really take revenge for me? Zhou Tianyu was still a little worried. It wasn't that he wasn't willing, but he was afraid that if he signed it and Li Xiandao didn't help him, then it would be a problem. Also, he wanted to know how he was going to help him take revenge. Tian Guangming looked on from the side. He wanted to see how this mysterious master allowed someone as crestfallen as Zhou Tianyun to kill young master Mingtu. Li Xiandao nodded his head, of course I will. The contract is written in black and white, so whatever is written will be followed. Zhou Tianyu raised one thumb, one last question, how are you all going to help me? I will give you a treasure and allow you to personally fight Xiandao sect and end Mingtu. Li Xiandao said calmly. What treasure is so strong? Zhou Tianyu frowned as he didn't believe that explanation. Tian Guangming couldn't help but burst out laughing. Xiandao sect is a top sect in Dali land, there are many experts there. You actually want to rely on one weapon to kill them, what a pipe dream. Li Xiandao didn't bother about Tian Guangming. He waved his hands and a brush with a jade-like body, covered in a red glow, appeared. Heaven Emperor Brush. This is a celestial artifact, I will lend it to you for a week. Within this week, you will head to Xiandao sect and kill Mingtu. The celestial artifact will use all its strength, so you don't have to worry. Xiandao sect wouldn't dare to fight you head-on. Li Xiandao smiled. He desired Zhou Tianyu's talent, even if he lent Heaven Emperor Brush out and spent some god source, he would do it. Celestial artifact. Zhou Tianyu's eyes opened wide. He only heard of one but had never seen one before. Each celestial artifact was favored by the heavens and was extremely strong. Tian Guangming looked on solemnly. He didn't expect that this mysterious person would actually give a celestial artifact to Zhou Tianyu. If it is a celestial artifact at full power, it will be hard for Xiandao sect. Zhou Tianyu only wants to kill Mingtu, so those elders definitely won't stop him. Tian Guangming understood the situation within Xiandao sect, which was why after acquiring the Heaven Emperor Brush, he knew that he could take revenge on Zhou Tianyu. The price he paid was his talent. Mysterious. Terrifying. Immense. This was what he felt, he didn't dare to underestimate the Bank of the Universe anymore. Okay, I will sign it. Zhou Tianyu looked at the Heaven Emperor Brush and his gaze was really firm. He signed right away and wrote his own name down. The moment it was signed, it flew into Li Xiandao's hands. He checked it carefully and said with satisfaction, very good. I will take away your talent first and then I will pass the Heaven Emperor Brush to you. Zhou Tianyu said worryingly, how are you going to take it away? Li Xiandao smiled, don't worry, I won't hurt your life. He walked slowly behind Zhou Tianyu, reaching out and touching his forehead, relax and don't think about anything. It will be done in a moment. Zhou Tianyu relaxed and cleared his mind. He was really well behaved. Li Xiandao was really satisfied. Zhou Tianyu being so cooperative was the best scenario for him. Weng weng weng. Li Xiandao reached out toward Zhou Tianyu's forehead and his 5 fingers became a claw as he reached out. It was like he was grabbing something extremely heavy, but his expression didn't change and he continued. But pain appeared on Tianyu's face as he struggled and cried out. His talent was being separated from him, and naturally, the pain would be unbearable. Li Xiandao looked on coldly. He wouldn't stop, he had to acquire this talent. It hurts. His whole body was filled with pain. Zhou Tianyu hollered in pain and struggled, but he couldn't break free from Li Xiandao. Hold on, it will be over in a minute. Li Xiandao's expression was cold but his tone was soft like a summer wind blowing, which made Zhou Tianyu grit his teeth and persist. Time passed, second by second, and Li Xiandao pulled out a 5-colored glow. Numerous futures appeared on it and if a mortal took a look, they would enter a state of confusion, unable to ever break free. Even Tian Guangming, who had high cultivation, felt dazzled, his thoughts were in a mess and he couldn't control himself. He shifted his gaze away immediately. He was shocked. Tian Guangming didn't expect that Zhou Tianyu's talent would actually be so terrifying. This terrifying talent now belonged to this mysterious person. Tian Guangming was even starting to hesitate about whether or not he wanted to trade. Li Xiandao didn't worry about Tian Guangming. A minute later, he pulled out Zhou Tianyu's talent. Dong! Zhou Tianyu's body became much lighter and the pain faded. He became calm once more and he no longer felt pain throughout his sweaty body. At the same time, the light in his eyes was gone and they became murky. From now onward, cultivation wouldn't be so simple anymore. His profit talent was now in the hands of Li Xiandao. 7 picked up a jade box and opened it. She asked Li to place the talent in and then she backed off. Li Xiandao returned to his spot and looked at Zhou Tianyu before reaching out. Hong! The celestial artifact Heaven Emperor brush appeared. The thick and heavy aura made it hard for Zhou Tianyu and Tian Guangming to breathe, his skin felt like it was about to crack open. Li Xiandao waved forward, the Heaven Emperor brush became ordinary and he passed it to Zhou Tianyu. A week later, I will send someone to collect it. You only have a week. Make good use of the time. Li Xiandao reminded. Zhou Tianyu picked up the Heaven Emperor brush, and the hatred in his eyes nearly turned physical, it was so thick that it couldn't be dissolved. He gritted his teeth and said, 1 week is enough. I will definitely head to Xiandao sect and take revenge for my father, mother, sister, and brother. I wish you luck. Li Xiandao smiled. He injected 10,000 God Source into the Heaven Emperor brush, allowing it to use as much as it wanted to help Zhou Tianyu suppress Xiandao sect. Li Xiandao didn't feel troubled after paying 10,000 God Sources, instead, he felt like he had earned it. You can leave now, but remember, you only have a week. Li Xiandao waved his sleeves and Zhou Tianyu disappeared right away. In the hall, only Li Xiandao and Tian Guangming were left. Now, will you trade? Li Xiandao looked at Tian Guangming and asked calmly. Tian Guangming was hesitating. He had witnessed the first trade, so he definitely wouldn't suspect whether or not it was real. But the problem was, would he trade? Chapter 17, Slave for 14 years. Tian Guangming sat opposite Li Xiandao and said seriously, I need 500,000 God Source. Li Xiandao nodded his head and said, I have them. Lady Qing exchanged 1,000,000 God Source with him, which was enough for him to trade with others. Otherwise, Li Xiandao really wouldn't have had enough to trade. How much do I need to pay? Tian Guangming asked warily. He didn't want to pay his talent. Although he didn't know why Li Xiandao wanted talent, he was sure that in the trade between Zhou Tianyu and Li Xiandao, Zhou Tianyu was the one who lost out. If Li Xiandao knew what Tian Guangming was thinking about, he would burst out laughing and tell him that his talent was very lousy. Since 7 wasn't even reminding him, it meant that his talent was really average. 500,000 God Source can solve your problems and give you hope. Without these 500,000 God Source, you will slowly weaken. Li Xiandao saw Tian Guangming's thoughts and spoke right away. Tian Guangming's expression changed, becoming much darker. He didn't expect that Li Xiandao would actually see through him. Li Xiandao said calmly, similar items are valued differently in front of different people. He was in bad need of these 500,000 God Source, otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here. I can give them to you, but the price you need to pay is, Li Xiandao said but then paused. Tian Guangming stared right at Li Xiandao, the price I need to pay is. Just as Li Xiandao said, Xiandao sect leader sealed his channel for God Source and locked him in White Emperor City. The White Emperor was actually going to wither down over time? This was something that Tian Guangming couldn't accept, no matter what. Li Xiandao's lips rose up and he said, I will make you a slave for 14 years. Tian Guangming's expression changed. He got up and his eyes opened wide as he said furiously, impossible. He was an elder of Xiandao sect, White Emperor who was famous in Dali land, his attack strength was unparalleled, and he was very prideful. To actually want him to be a slave for 14 years? Preposterous. White Emperor Tian Guangming stared at Li Xiandao furiously, venting out his own frustration. Li Xiandao acted as though it was a really simple matter, he made 7 prepare a contract. He picked up his pen and said, stop acting strong here. Despite how famous you were in the past, as time passes, you will still become weak. If you were really filled with anger, you would have flipped the table and left. Tian Guangming's face turned green. He didn't say a word as he stood in front of Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao's words hurt him. Tian Guangming's reputation was huge, and as such, he was really proud, but in front of time, he was nothing. If he was 500 years younger, he wouldn't hesitate to flip the table to leave and not even turn his head back. But now, he couldn't be that determined. 14 years. His expression changed, becoming really bitter. Would he really become a slave for 14 years? Li Xiandao nodded his head and said, 14 years in exchange for a chance. With these 500,000 God Source, you will have a chance to enter the next realm. Once you do, you will have thousands of years of lifespan, enough for you to expand your legacy. These words were written clearly in black and white on the contract. Tian Guangming remained really silent, he found it really hard to make up his mind. After you sign it, I will send you out to support my envoy and set up a bank in Dali land. You will serve him for 14 years and after that, you will regain your freedom. Li Xiandao said calmly. He was buying insurance for himself as it was too dangerous to roam outside without some help. Just 14 years. Tian Guangming considered a little and then confirmed. Li Xiandao reached out and pointed, the Bank of the Universe follows the contract and it is written really clear that I won't make you kill the innocent, nor will I make you go against your morals. But at the same time, if you go against the contract, I will kill you and bring your corpse back, sealing it in ice forever. Tian Guangming carefully looked at the contract and confirmed that it was correct. With much difficulty, he finally signed his name. Once he signed his name, the contract would come into effect. Li Xiandao looked at it with satisfaction and waved his hands. 7 took out 500,000 God Source and passed them to Tian Guangming. Tian Guangming took them and was satisfied, he finally obtained the God Source. He lost 14 years of freedom and pride but it was still really worth it. This was because this was something he had to do. From now on, I will be controlled by you for 14 years. Tian Guangming said expressionlessly. Not me but my envoy. He is outside, so go meet him. Li Xiandao waved his sleeves and Tian Guangming was swept out of the Bank of the Universe. Hong. Within Spirit Illusion Holy Land's 100,000 large mountains, Li Xiandao took off his robe and golden mask and was back to normal as he stood back on the peak. In a short moment, Tian Guangming appeared behind his back and looked on in shock. Li Xiandao had no cultivation at all, so how could he be the Bank of the Universe's envoy? Li Xiandao turned around and looked at Tian Guangming, you are the helper who Sir found for me. Tian Guangming looked at Li Xiandao with a wronged expression. Helper, it is then, it was better than being called a slave. Right, I am. Tian Guangming said expressionlessly. Deep down, he was unhappy. He thought that the envoy was an expert, but who knew that it would be a young man who had no cultivation at all. He was the White Emperor and he had actually become the helper of a normal person with no cultivation at all. If this was announced, it would be really embarrassing. But since the contract was signed, Tian Guangming was unable to resist. This is Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Tian Guangming looked around and found it familiar. Didn't this place belong to Spirit Illusion Holy Land? These 100,000 mountains belong to my Bank of the Universe now. What Spirit Illusion Holy Land, that thing has already disbanded. Li Xiandao placed his hands behind his back. The wind blew his shirt, but he didn't move at all as he spoke calmly. Spirit Illusion Holy Land disbanded. Tian Guangming's eyes opened wide as he looked on in disbelief. Spirit Illusion Holy Land has a celestial artifact, so how were they disbanded? Tian Guangming asked curiously. His celestial artifact belonged to the Bank of the Universe. 10,000 years ago, he signed a contract to borrow the Heaven Emperor brush, but he chose not to pay it, so I came to collect debts. Li Xiandao entered the Golden Main Hall. Tian Guangming followed behind. His heart was filled with shock, Spirit Illusion Holy Land was disbanded just like that? Till now, everything all didn't seem real. What even was this Bank of the Universe? It was actually so terrifying. Is there anything you need me to do? Tian Guangming asked Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao thought about it, nothing. Just return to White Emperor City and break through. If you can break through, then you would be of greater help to me. I will give you time. Tian Guangming said in a weird tone, if I go back and take 14 years to break through, then wouldn't the time be over? I don't care. For you to be a slave for 14 years is not an insult, but an opportunity. How big are the 9 skies and 10 lands? My Bank of the Universe needs helpers and if you are unable to take the chance to become a dragon, then you will be the person who will have lost the most while in seclusion for 14 years. Li Xiandao didn't care at all. He had enough watches, but did he lack a so-called White Emperor to be his helper? Chapter 18, Merging Talent. After sending Tian Guangming away, Li Xiandao returned back to the Bank of the Universe. Thinking back to Tian Guangming's, who looked like a fool, Li Xiandao felt really amused. If a frog at the bottom of the well didn't jump out, it would never know how wide this land was. Li Xiandao had decided to let Guangming out to break through from the start. If he was smart, then he would instantly rush over after he broke through. Li Xiandao, who returned to the Bank of the Universe once more, looked at 7. Did anyone come? Li Xiandao asked curiously. Not just yet, and only 2 of the 10 watches found a master. The other 8 are still roaming to find suitable people. 7 shook her head. There is no rush, we are also lacking items right now and only have a few 100,000 god source. I gave the celestial artifact to Zhou Tianyu, and if someone comes to trade, it would be a little problematic. Li Xiandao explained. The watches didn't randomly find people, but based on what the Bank of the Universe had, they would find people who lacked that item to trade. There were many who lacked god source, but very few who the Bank of the Universe was interested in, which was why one was unable to find any. Li Xiandao wasn't in a rush, and he focused on all the talent that he had just received. Prophet talent. 7 said that this was a rare talent and one that one couldn't wish for. What Li Xiandao lacked the most was talent. He was already 18 years old and currently, he didn't even have a single bit of cultivation. Embarrassing. Li Xiandao was previously a slave and he didn't have any resources or any cultivation techniques, and that was the reason why he was unable to cultivate. In the 3 months that Li Xiandao transmigrated, he tried to learn techniques and now he had the resources to do so, but he still hadn't broken through. This was the problem with his talent. How is my talent? Li Xiandao asked 7. Truthfully. 7 had a bit of an awkward expression on her beautiful face. Li Xiandao nodded his head. I want to hear the truth. If I randomly find a beggar on the streets, he might have higher talent than master. 7 said truthfully. Li Xiandao kept silent and found it a little hard to breathe. Those words were just so painful to the heart. Switch, I have to switch talents. Li Xiandao was decisive. If he did not switch talents, then he would be trash for the rest of his life. Even if he developed the Bank of the Universe, he, himself, was still trash, and Li Xiandao couldn't accept that. 7 smiled. Master, do you know why I asked you to switch for that talent? Why? Li Xiandao asked. That is because I can help you switch your talent. Not only that, but I can also activate the prophet talent. 7 smiled gently and said. Li Xiandao said with joy, you can activate talents. If at the starting ages of the talent, one wasn't able to allow it to come into effect, it would remain dormant and await the time that it was activated. But there were many common people in the world who didn't activate their talents. Growing old and dying, greed, desire, love, hatred, bitterness. There were many such examples. All sorts of examples would cause one to lose their focus in the journey upward, causing them to forget to activate and develop their talent. This was why many people, when they were on the verge of death, wouldn't know that as long as they worked a little harder, they would become an elite person. Only the minority would be able to maintain their heart and focus on the climb, and what would walk out from that would be the most amazing and true self. Those kinds of people were called geniuses. There were many elites, each generation had many elites that were uncountable. But in the end, only a handful of people could become geniuses. This was why Li Xiandao was so shocked that 7 could actually activate talent. I am the artifact spirit of the Bank of the Universe, but I am also a real person. I have my own emotions and abilities. Apart from being unable to leave Bank of the Universe, I am no different from other people. So, does Master want me to help you merge talent? 7 smiled as she asked. Li Xiandao looked at the beautiful face of 7 and nodded. Sit down. 7 instructed Li Xiandao to sit down. Close your eyes. Li Xiandao listened and followed her instructions. Clear your mind. Li Xiandao cleared his mind. Forget everything. Li Xiandao slowly forgot everything. 7 took out Zhou Tianyu's talent from the jade box and slowly pulled out Li Xiandao's talent. In the end, he shoved Zhou Tianyu's talent in. This was the first step. The second step was the crucial merging. If the talent was shoved in but repelled by one's body, then the problem would be huge and it would be easy for people to die. This was why 7 was very well behaved and gentle as she carefully helped Li Xiandao merge with the talent. Time passed really quickly during the merger. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. During those 3 days, Li Xiandao hid in the Bank of the Universe and didn't worry about anything else. But there was a storm surging outside. First was Spirit Illusion Holy Land being forcefully disbanded. They lost their celestial artifact Heaven Emperor Brush, and their Holy Lord level Luo Shui and sect leader level Feng Luo both died. Everyone was so shocked their eyes fell out. The entire Spirit Illusion Holy Land was occupied by a mortal, who had no cultivation at all. The remaining people split into many small sects. They didn't have territory, so they snatched others. An ancient holy land suddenly falling caused many small sects to be established. No one dared to find Li Xiandao for revenge. Heaven Emperor Brush was so strong and terrified people to death. No one, from the elders to the deacons, had the courage to do anything. The long period of peace had wiped out Spirit Illusion Holy Land's hot blood. During these few days, Xiandao sect wasn't quiet either. A Dao pursuing realm kid took a celestial artifact and charged outside Xiandao sect, and said that he wanted to kill the son of the sect leader, Mingtu. This spurred Xiandao sect's rage when sect leader, Mingkan, came out to deal with the matter. Within White Emperor City, White Emperor openly broke through. On the third day after he returned, he burned 500,000 God Source and used this power to break through all at once. Heaven Essence Realm has finally been reached. Tian Guangming's body changed and his white hair disappeared, turning dark black. His loose skin became strong and he now had 1,000 years more to live. Cultivation starts from foundation, going through, ascension, life wheel, Dao pursuing, nirvana, emptiness, earth branch, and heaven essence. Reaching the earth branch realm was what the people of Dali Land commonly called the sect leader level. Dali Land had many sect leaders who were at this realm. Tian Guangming was at this realm a few days ago. In addition to the overbearing techniques he cultivated, he could fight 1 against 10, which was why he was called White Emperor. But even someone as strong as him was unable to fight someone of the Heaven Essence Realm. Heaven Essence Realm was the Holy Lord level of strength. It was the realm that Luo Shui was at. Now, Tian Guangming had reached that realm and completed his wishes. Hong! Just as Tian Guangming was feeling happy, at the Xiandao sect entrance, a giant aura surged, causing Tian Guangming to look over. This is the power of a celestial artifact. Tian Guangming's expression changed. He didn't expect Zhou Tianyu to head to Xiandao sect so quickly. Go take a look, I want to witness the strength of a celestial artifact too. Tian Guangming took in a deep breath and headed toward Xiandao sect right away. Chapter 19, Strength of Celestial Weapon. Xiandao sect, a top power in Dali Land, was much stronger than some ancient holy lands. In front of Xiandao sect, Spirit Illusion Holy Land could be totally disregarded. Spirit Illusion Holy Land had over 10,000 disciples and was passed on for 100,000 years, occupying 100,000 mountains, and had numerous resources. Xiandao sect had a few 100,000 disciples and was passed down for 1,000,000 years, occupying many secret areas. It also had a bit of a relationship with the celestial world and was connected with the other 9 skies and 10 lands. This was also the reason why Xiandao sect disciples were so overbearing. This was because, in Dali Land, they were the bosses, it might have even been right to consider them the top power. Xiandao sect didn't even think that one day someone would target them and insult them at their entrance. This was something they always did to the outside world. When Zhou Tianyu brought the celestial artifact Heaven Emperor Brush to head over to Xiandao sect, he made no effort to suppress the hatred in his eyes. His parents' debt. His family's debt. His beloved brother and sister. The girl he grew up with since he was young. Everything in this life was ruined by Xiandao sect. Zhou Tianyu would even enter the demon path to borrow strength to wipe Xiandao sect out. Luckily, the Bank of the Universe gave him this chance, otherwise, he would have gone crazy from the daily torture he suffered. Today, I, Zhou Tianyu, am here to claim my blood debt. Zhou Tianyu's eyes turned red as he stepped toward Xiandao sect. His aura swelled up. Although he was only at Dao pursuing realm, he used his talent to exchange for a celestial artifact. He was confident in this celestial artifact. Hong! The moment Heaven Emperor Brush floated out, its jade-like body shone brightly, attracting a great deal of attention. In the next moment, Heaven Emperor Brush lightly brushed in the sky and a word appeared. Pang! Explosion! The mountains all around Xiandao sect collapsed. In front of Zhou Tianyu's eyes, a series of fireworks spread out and it was extremely beautiful. Who is so bold to act so arrogantly in my Xiandao sect? You are just asking to die. I haven't revealed my strength in a long time and someone actually dares to come and bully, preposterous. No matter who it is, an expert of the righteous path, or an emperor of the demon path, you will die today. Xiandao sect disciples listen up, lock down the area such that this person can't leave. Everyone cursed out and those sounds filled up the whole area, reverberating through the mountains. They were filled with rage and hatred. When had Xiandao sect ever been humiliated like that? The enemy had reached their entrance and even shattered their mountains, he was just asking to die. When Zhou Tianyu heard these words, he gave out a mocking smile and said, I didn't think about fleeing. In the world, the power of reason is the most important thing, I am here to reason with you all. Reason. This was what Zhou Tianyu insisted on. I didn't offend you, but because you were interested in my fiancé's looks, you killed my entire family and raped my fiancé. You were wrong. This is why even if I risk my life, I will reason with you all. The killer must pay with his life, and that is the law of the land. This reason will be birthed from the Heaven Emperor brush. The Xiandao sect elders and disciples all gathered, but Zhou Tianyu didn't fear anything. He stepped out and stood on the Xiandao sect square. Mingtu, come out and pay. Zhou Tianyu said coldly. Bold. Is senior brother Mingtu's name something you can call directly? A disciple cursed. He was the best at sucking up and he knew it. Zhou Tianyu looked at him, his eyes were calm and unaffected. You protecting Mingtu means that you are an accomplice. Since you are an accomplice, then you too must die. Zhou Tianyu held the Heaven Emperor brush, as it moved, a death word appeared. Instantly, that disciple, who sucked up, died. There were no signs of what happened at all, he died just like that. Such that Xiandao sect disciples were terrified. They couldn't help but move away, what was going on? People who help Mingtu today will be seen as his accomplices and I will kill you each and every one of you. Zhou Tianyu warned in advance and looked at the mountains as he shouted. Mingtu, the remaining person from the Zhou family, is here to reason with you. My Xiandao sect doesn't need to reason with you. An old and cold voice replied. Along with a sharp and fierce palm that covered the area and wanted to kill Zhou Tianyu. Explosion. Death. Many Xiandao sect elders looked on coldly at that strike. They all felt that Zhou Tianyu, who was only at Dao pursuing realm, would definitely die. However, Tian Guangming was not included among them. He stood on a mountain peak and his eyes were really cold as he looked at Zhou Tianyu. Especially at the celestial artifact that Zhou Tianyu held in his hands, Heaven Emperor brush. He was probably the only person there who knew that it was a celestial artifact. Tian Guangming's sect leader attacked, he had to protect his son, to kill Zhou Tianyu. This made Tian Guangming laugh coldly. This is the outcome for spoiling your future generations, resulting in him being so lawless and arrogant. You made him fear nothing in the world, so you are pretty much scum. Xiandao sect has too many of such people, generation after generation, it has become worse. If not for your foundations supporting, then it would have totally collapsed. Tian Guangming laughed coldly. He didn't have any children, so he could give his opinions rationally. Mingtu's sins would be repaid in full by Xiandao sect. He deserved to die. If Tian Guangming was the Xiandao sect leader, he would definitely order them to kill Mingtu. But unfortunately, the sect leader was Mingtu's father and he decided to keep Mingtu alive and tried to kill Zhou Tianyu, turning the big matter into a small one. You deserve to die. Zhou Tianyu's gaze became violent. He came to reason but the opposition actually slapped him without saying a word, wanting to kill him. Since you are not listening to my reason, then let the Heaven Emperor brush reason with you. Zhou Tianyu laughed coldly. He let go and allowed the Heaven Emperor brush to float up. Kill him. Zhou Tianyu gave a cruel order. Heaven Emperor brush swelled up, its body grew to 100 meters in size and it wrote a few words in the air. Unstoppable thunder. The moment the few words were written, the color of the sky changed, many clouds gathered, and dark clouds covered the sky. Explosion. Many strikes of lightning shot down, slicing off Xiandao sect's palm. This caused many of the elders to look on with their mouths wide open. What artifact is that? It wrote a few words and was able to cause such a huge earthquake. Is that a celestial artifact? An elder guessed. Celestial artifact. That is actually a celestial artifact. How would a celestial artifact listen to a Dao pursuing realm kid? If it is not a celestial artifact, then how would it be so strong? Tian Guangming looked on and smiled. Tian Guangming teaching clowns and failing was something he loved to see. Later on, you will know how big of a problem your son has caused for you. With just your bit of cultivation, you won't be able to block it all. Tian Guangming laughed coldly as he made his mind up to not interfere and just enjoy the show. The Xiandao sect leader who was hiding in the random area in the clouds didn't bother about Zhou Tianyu at all. He treated him like an ant that he could casually smash to death. But who would guess that this ant would bite him? Although he wasn't injured, he lost all his face. The Xiandao sect leader stepped out, crossing 300 miles. He wanted to land on the hall and cut Zhou Tianyu into 8 pieces. But at that moment, Heaven Emperor Brush showed off its strength once more. He locked onto him and wrote a word in the air. Slash! A sharp sword glow appeared in the sky and flew forward. It caused the Xiandao sect leader's expression to change and he tried to block it. However, it was useless as his body was sliced into many pieces. Xiandao sect leader was dead. Chapter 20, Tian Guangming, Step Out. Celestial artifact Heaven Emperor Brush's attacks instantly and unexpectedly killed Xiandao sect leader. Even if everyone guessed that it was a celestial artifact that was really strong, they didn't expect that it would be so strong to instantly slay Xiandao sect leader. Xiandao sect leader Minkan had Holy Lord level of strength. Even if he wasn't that strong, he shouldn't have been killed by a Dao pursuing realm kid, right? Even if this kid held a celestial artifact in his hands, could a Dao pursuing realm person utilize a celestial artifact? The strength of the artifact depended on the strength of the user. Dao pursuing realm probably wouldn't even be able to use a celestial artifact, much less kill a Holy Lord expert. Everyone from Xiandao sect, from bottom to top, was totally confused. Even Tian Guangming, who knew what was going on, was stunned. He only guessed that Minkan would suffer, but he didn't expect Minkan to be killed right away. That was just too much, right? Can a celestial artifact be used without a master? Tian Guangming couldn't help but ask himself. Zhou Tianyu didn't care about their shock. He saw the Heaven Emperor Brush kill the Xiandao sect leader instantly and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Father, mother, brother, sister, your spirit in heaven can rest. Today, I will definitely take revenge for you all, I will make him pay for what he did. After smiling, Zhou Tianyu hollered in rage. The rage that he suppressed at the bottom of his heart could finally be released. Who are you? We have no animosity with one another, so why did you bring a celestial artifact to cause problems at my Xiandao sect? A Xiandao sect elder stood out and chided. They didn't dare to underestimate Zhou Tianyu, who had a celestial artifact. No animosity. Zhou Tianyu laughed and his gaze turned cold. You should ask your young master Mingtu whether or not he knows me. Zhou Tianyu said coldly. Mingtu. This elder's expression changed. He immediately thought about Mingtu's arrogant personality. He turned around and hollered, bring Mingtu over. Even the sect leader was dead so no one was protecting Mingtu. The atmosphere around Xiandao sect was a little different. A moment later, Mingtu cried out as someone dragged him over. Pang! Mingtu was tossed on the square. When he saw Zhou Tianyu, he was terrified. His legs went soft and he retreated. When Zhou Tianyu saw Mingtu, the energy in his body went berserk. This person had wiped out his family. This was the person who raped his fiancée. This person made him give up anything and everything to take revenge. Mingtu, do you recognize me? Zhou Tianyu gritted his teeth and said. Mingtu looked at Zhou Tianyu's gaze, he could see that he wished to swallow him alive and rip his skin apart. He was instantly terrified and said, Zhou Tianyu, I am sorry about your family. I can compensate source, spirit meridian, artifacts, techniques, but just let me go. Mingtu personally witnessed his father being killed and at this point was petrified, so how would he be courageous enough to fight and argue with Zhou Tianyu? He even wanted to take out all his assets and pass them to Zhou Tianyu, in exchange for a chance to live. I had all of that, but you destroyed everything. Now, I have nothing. Can you return the girl I loved? Zhou Tianyu roared out viciously. Mingtu was so petrified that he fell to the ground. Zhou Tianyu looked just like a ghost that had climbed out from hell and wanted to take his life. Great Master, save me! Mingtu looked at the top elder under his father and begged. The elder sighed and stepped out. Friend, Mingtu has paid the price, you have killed his father, but can you let him off? Why are you helping him? Zhou Tianyu asked coldly. The elder said bitterly, after all, this is my disciple. Arrogant only because of the backing of these elders, otherwise, he wouldn't have become so bold, and wouldn't have wiped out my family and raped my fiancée. Today, you even dare to say such bold words. He made a mistake and you are at fault for that too. Die! Zhou Tianyu raged, he couldn't suppress his rage any longer as he activated the Heaven Emperor brush. Dong! Heaven Emperor brush directly landed and a giant death word appeared in mid-air, smashing into the elder's head. The elder was unable to find back. He was quasi-holy lord level of strength and his death was just too tragic. Mingtu was stunned as he looked on, his eyes were filled with despair. The two backers behind him had all died. Now, who would save him? The other elders of Xiandao sect were solemn and felt like this was really problematic. He stared at Zhou Tianyu, but they weren't able to do anything. This is the strength of a celestial artifact. The core celestial seals have been opened, which is why it is so strong. Unless a really strong person attacks, we won't be able to block. What should we do? An elder frowned. The strength of the Heaven Emperor brush was too much for them. A small Zhou Tianyu couldn't be considered much. Go ask the Grand Elder. An elder said right away. But the moment he said this, an old person floated above the square and appeared right in front of Zhou Tianyu. He stared at the Heaven Emperor brush's attacks and just walked like nothing was happening. Friend, I am the last sect leader of Xiandao sect and have retired behind the scenes. Here I apologize to you on behalf of Xiandao sect. The old man bowed respectfully. Xiandao sect's elders all didn't say a word. Since the Grand Elder appeared, what else could they say? My Zhou family has 149 people, my fiancé's family had a dozen, all of them died because of your Xiandao sect disciple. Can a simple apology wipe that away? Zhou Tianyu laughed coldly as he didn't accept that apology. Xiandao sect's elders stared at Zhou Tianyu in rage. He felt like he was too much. The Grand Elder was a person close to Holy Lord level and he actually didn't accept his apology? Do you really think that because of a celestial artifact you can do whatever you want? My Tian Guangming will hand everyone related to Mingtu over to you for you to handle them. Tian Guangming walked over and said in a loud voice. The Grand Elder looked at Tian Guangming and he frowned. But looking at the Heaven Emperor brush, which was about to attack once more, he suppressed his temper and nodded. Friend, Mingtu killed your family, so now you can kill him. I will hand over everyone who is blood related to him, including those disciples who have been causing problems with him. The Grand Elder said. Zhou Tianyu laughed coldly, okay, pick them all out. Tian Guangming, don't try to con me. Tian Guangming shook his head, why would I dare? The two of them recognized one another and naturally they couldn't bluff each other. Tian Guangming knew who the Heaven Emperor brush belonged to and he also knew how much Zhou Tianyu wanted to take revenge. He also knew how terrifying the Bank of the Universe was, which was why he stepped out after the sect leader died. The Grand Elder looked at Tian Guangming and said weirdly, White Emperor, you broke through. White Emperor Tian Guangming rose from sect leader level combat strength to Holy Lord level of combat strength. With his terrifying techniques, he could stabilize at that level. This time, was it a blessing or a bane for Xiandao sect? Chapter 21, The Thing Ended. No matter how Mingtu resisted, he couldn't go against the will of those higher UPS. His father was killed and his master also died at the hands of the Heaven Emperor brush. There was no one who could help him at all. The people who Mingtu bullied before all wanted revenge. If not for Zhou Tianyu being aggressive and having a celestial artifact, it wouldn't have been his turn. Mingtu cried out as he was dragged out. Along with the entire Ming family, everyone related by blood was captured. 180 people were tossed into the Xiandao sect square. Numerous people cried out, begged, filled with despair and hatred. The Xiandao sect elders, disciples, and Grand Elder all didn't move. Their faces were ice cold and they didn't say a single word. Mingtu saw this and his heart went totally cold. My father is the Xiandao sect leader. Although he didn't do anything amazing for Xiandao sect, he tried his best and worked hard and contributed a lot. Mingtu looked around in rage. He knelt on the ground and tears flowed. He really regretted things. I don't beg for everyone to save me, I just ask how the sect can leave a descendant for Ming family, leaving a root. Mingtu cried. Within Xiandao sect, it was extremely silent. No one dared to say a word in front of the Heaven Emperor brush. Whatever you say won't change anything today. Zhou Tianyu laughed coldly. He wasn't in a rush to kill Mingtu, he wanted to torture him. I don't want to change the outcome as I know that I will definitely die today. In the past, I relied on the power of my father and master to act arrogantly and I did many wrong things, so I deserve to die. Mingtu cried out and spoke of his regrets aloud. This is really the case of one seeing things through when one is about to die. Zhou Tianyu couldn't help but mock. Mingtu, who was arrogant, overbearing and preposterous his whole life, knew that at the final moments, he could say such words aloud. If he knew that this day would come, why would he do all those things? If you comprehended this long ago, your family members wouldn't die too. Zhou Tianyu's gaze was like a blade that wanted to slice Mingtu into pieces. Mingtu cried out in pain and begged, I know that I have to die and I deserve it. The people who follow me deserve it too, but my family is innocent. Please let them go. Zhou Tianyu grabbed Mingtu and raised him up as he hollered, your family is innocent but what about my family? Just because my fiancé was born beautiful you were tempted. My father didn't agree to break the marriage, so you killed him. There were 149 people in my family who died at your hands. Now, you ask me to let your family go and you say they are innocent. Let me tell you, even if the King of the Heavens comes, your family still has to die. Zhou Tianyu grabbed Mingtu and hollered. His voice reverberated through the mountains. Xiandao sect's hundreds of thousands of disciples, elders, deacons, all kept silent. They couldn't interfere in this grievance. Of course, if this was announced, it would be a blemish to Xiandao sect. If they could, Xiandao sect naturally wouldn't want this matter to spread out. They didn't even want this thing to happen. They would rather kill Mingtu themselves than have someone target them and force them to hand over Mingtu. But they had no choice. They weren't able to block a celestial artifact with its celestial seal opened. Without a Holy Lord level person, one wouldn't be able to open the seal. This was why they could only keep silent. After Zhou Tianyu hollered in rage, he raised his hand and the Heaven Emperor brush moved. Turn their bones to dust. Zhou Tianyu hollered, he didn't hide his killing intent at all. At that moment, he would fight whoever tried to stop him to death. The Grand Elder of Xiandao sect took several steps back and expressed his attitude. He wouldn't care about this. Tian Guangming also turned around. His face was really cold. His grievances with Mingtu's father were really deep. It was transparent, everyone in Xiandao sect knew, so he definitely wouldn't interfere and save him. Hong! Heaven Emperor brush moved, easily giving off a terrifying aura. Like lightning clouds, it covered the area. Peng 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 peng. The members of the Ming family instantly turned into many corpses, destroyed by this aura. Even Mingtu's father, who had Holy Lord level of strength, couldn't defeat the heaven, much less these normal people. Mingtu watched as the Ming family members died one after another. Mingtu was so furious that his eyes were about to pop out, and he gritted his teeth in hatred. He spat out blood, but he wasn't able to change anything. Zhou Tianyu left Mingtu and said cruelly, I want you to experience the pain and hardship that I went through, to personally see your family members die one after another. Mingtu spat out blood in pain and fell to the ground. He looked towards the sky in despair. He had no more strength to argue. His final choice was to destroy his heart meridian and kill himself. Father, Mother, Mingtu is unfilial and I have wasted my life. I hurt myself and hurt you. Now, I will go and find you all. Don't walk too fast on the path to hell, wait for me. Mingtu looked at the blue sky restlessly. Zhou Tianyu looked at Mingtu in rage. He didn't expect him to actually commit suicide. You are lucky that you didn't die in pain. Otherwise, I would have definitely tortured you. Zhou Tianyu cursed and after scolding him, he felt empty in his heart. He took revenge for his family. He gave away his talent. Zhou Tianyu didn't think about how to walk the future path. Maybe, leaving this world to find my parents, to find little AI, that is my goal. Lit AI was Zhou Tianyu's lover since he young. Zhou Tianyu died and this whole storm stirred up the entire Xiandao sect. Grand Elder came out to manage Xiandao sect, killing those rude and arrogant disciples. He was vicious and no one could stop him. Of course, these things happened afterward. White Emperor Tian Guangming rejected the choice to become sect leader. In the past, maybe he craved it but after all this, he realized that he had no interest at all. White Emperor left. He didn't return to White Emperor City, but he left it to someone else and disappeared. Comment. Zhou Tianyu disappeared too. He brought the celestial artifact heaven and disappeared from everyone's sight. Li Xiandao woke up in the bank of the universe. While he was changing his talent, Li Xiandao had been adapting and he felt like he took a really long time. From past till now, from now till the future, he walked through time. Li Xiandao opened his eyes and he still saw the bank of the universe and the beautiful seven. At that moment, he had totally transformed. He wasn't that normal mortal like before. Li Xiandao merged with the prophet talent and activated it, becoming a person with the ability to predict time. During that period, Seven played a really important role. Li Xiandao stood up and his entire aura changed. In the past, he was really average, but now one was unable to read him. He became much more handsome, his high and cold aura was befitting of his identity as the owner of the Bank of the Universe. Now, he finally had the right to be the new owner of the Bank of the Universe. Chapter 22, Trading Soul. Within the Bank of the Universe, Li Xiandao changed into a black robe and sat on the chair. He seemed totally different, his aura had changed. With this black traditional robe on him, he seemed really noble. Seven even helped Li Xiandao cut his dry hair, slicing it off, making him appear really handsome. Seven said with satisfaction, "Now, you look like the owner of the Bank of the Universe, both handsome and skilled with a noble demeanor. The few previous owners weren't like me?" Li Xiandao asked. "No, they didn't treat me well. After acquiring the Bank of the Universe, they treated me as a personal item and ordered me around. They never asked if I was willing, so I didn't really like them." Seven shook her head. Although she was an artifact spirit, she had her own personality. She was a complete person, but it was just that she couldn't leave the Bank of the Universe. "They won't ask you for your opinion," Li Xiandao said with a weird expression. Seven knew about everything beneath the world and was extremely loyal to the boss of the Bank of the Universe. They didn't ask such a person for her opinion? No, these people were all natives of the 9 skies and 10 lands and their thinking was fixed and stubborn. After obtaining the Bank of the Universe, they did things based on their own thoughts. Some were really arrogant, some were lawless, some ran it badly, Seven's words were filled with helplessness. Li Xiandao was deep in thought. "Master, to say something offensive, out of the 9 masters, although your cultivation is the lowest and you have no fighting strength at all, and although the situation of the Bank of the Universe is also the worst, you are the best master. You can take advice well," Seven exclaimed. The past few masters did things they wanted to do and they lost a few good opportunities. If they had relied on the Bank of the Universe, how would they have died so easily? Li Xiandao smiled, "So, I need to thank the few of them. If not for them doing so, I wouldn't have become the owner, much less have met such a beautiful Seven." Seven's eyes shone bright. She was a girl and naturally liked to be praised, especially from the owner of the Bank of the Universe. "Master, you are making me shy." Seven twisted her body, covering her cheeks and acting like a shy girl. Li Xiandao smiled, he and Seven were a good match. After smiling, Li Xiandao calmed down, "Now that I have merged with the prophet talent and activated the all-knowing ability, what cultivation techniques can I train?" Seven shook her head, "The Bank of the Universe's 10,000 country book depository has been sealed and we don't have a single technique now unless Master breaks the seal." "How many books are there in the 10,000 country book depository?" Li Xiandao asked. "A lot. Since ancient times, only the top books of the so-called empires had the right to enter. 10,000 empire-level countries have their books here. Think about it, how many books are there?" Seven said seriously. 10,000 country book depositories books are all there. Li Xiandao exclaimed. "A portion is there but many have been loaned out, all of which are very rare, and each allowed one to cultivate to the peak. In the future, Master needs to take them back." Seven shook her head. Li Xiandao nodded his head, naturally, he had to take back these things that belonged to him. "What is the price to pay to unlock the 10,000 country book depository?" Li Xiandao asked. "A God Spirit Meridian." Seven said. "God Spirit Meridian." Li Xiandao frowned. He had never heard of such a thing. God Spirit Meridian is a rare thing. God Source come from God Spirit Meridian. A God Spirit Meridian can give you 5 million God Source, so good luck Master. I hope you get one and redeem the 10,000 country book depository. Seven raised her fists and cheered for Li Xiandao like an exquisite doll, more beautiful than anything else. Li Xiandao smiled, "Great, then I will work hard. But before this, I need to deal with Zhou Tianyu." Li Xiandao sensed Zhou Tianyu was using the Heaven Emperor brush to contact him. Heaven Emperor brush showed off its might, Xiandao sect admitted their weakness, and Zhou Tianyu took revenge. Li Xiandao already knew about these things, after all, Heaven Emperor brush was his and he would be able to gain knowledge of everything right away. Now that Zhou Tianyu had successfully taken revenge and contacted him, Li Xiandao put on the mask. He waved his sleeves and Zhou Tianyu appeared in the Bank of the Universe out of nowhere. You took revenge? Li Xiandao asked calmly. Zhou Tianyu's expression was numb and one of shock. After hearing Li Xiandao's words, he nodded, I have taken revenge, I am here to return the Heaven Emperor brush. Li Xiandao casually reached out and the Heaven Emperor brush automatically flew over before disappearing. Li Xiandao looked at the numb Zhou Tianyu. He had lost his talent and that energy of his was gone, but he shouldn't have been so numb. You took revenge but you feel empty? Li Xiandao asked. Zhou Tianyu laughed bitterly, yes, I lost everything, I don't know how I should continue living. His parents were killed, his brothers and sisters died, and his fiancée was raped, his whole family died. This revenge and blood debt supported him, allowing him to live so he could take revenge. But now that he had taken revenge, he had killed Mingta's whole family, including the Xiandao sect leader who stood high above. All of a sudden, he had lost his goal. For revenge, he sold off his talent. Now, even if he cultivated, he wouldn't be able to improve much and would be stuck at Dao pursuing realm. Live? The world was so huge, within the 4 oceans, he had no relatives and there was no one he missed. Zhou Tianyu wanted to die. Li Xiandao saw through this. He smiled as his hands were held behind his back, and he came in front of Zhou Tianyu, are you willing to trade once more? Zhou Tianyu looked at that gold mask and those eyes that could read one's heart. For some reason, that willingness to die lessened greatly. He opened his mouth and closed it before repeating that action many times. He said softly, I have nothing to trade. His strongest talent was already traded and now he felt like he had nothing worthy to trade. Li Xiandao shook his head and said in a mysterious manner, this time, we won't trade something else, but we will trade your soul. Soul? Zhou Tianyu looked at Li Xiandao in a weird manner, his soul? Although this was the first time he heard about trading a soul, Zhou Tianyu thought that it would be similar to the slave souls that the demon path cultivators trained in. For some reason, he didn't resist or feel bad about it. When one felt so weak to their bones and when they were in a swamp, they would have nothing to lose, and if someone reached out to them, no matter if he was a Buddha or a demon, he would be the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, Li Xiandao was Zhou Tianyu's light. Zhou Tianyu nodded his head without hesitation, I will trade my soul. No matter what it is for, I will trade it. Zhou Tianyu said firmly. Chapter 23, Primordial Divinity. Li Xiandao wanted to take Zhou Tianyu's soul, not for other reasons, but to build strength that belonged to him. Like Seven said, when the Bank of the Universe was at its peak, there were 100,000 envoys spread over the 9 skies and 10 lands. It was built up by the past few masters and didn't belong to Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao inherited an empty Bank of the Universe. Relying on his cultivation, Li Xiandao could continue to trade to grow, but that would just be too slow. This was why Li Xiandao wanted to recruit helpers to build his own power. Zhou Tianyu was a really suitable choice. His whole family was killed, he took revenge, and he had lost his goal in life. If Li Xiandao didn't save him, then Zhou Tianyu would just die in front of him. Now, he would reach out and give Zhou Tianyu a push. He would definitely be grateful to Li Xiandao and filled with utmost loyalty. Master, Zhou Tianyu doesn't have talent and will only have this strength forever. 7 reminded Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao smiled, of course, I know. Then, will you still take him? 7's brow rose up as she didn't understand what Li Xiandao was doing. Li Xiandao slowly said, I awakened the all-knowing talent and checked everything within the Bank of the Universe, from inside to outside, and noticed a few things. 7 recalled and said, that was left from the last era and even I don't know how to use it. It is okay. I only need to take one look and I will know. Li Xiandao was really confident. The all-knowing talent was just so strong. When he was merging with the talent, Li Xiandao was swimming in the river of time including the future, past, and present, he saw many things and remembered many things. 7 might not have known the use of those few things in the Bank of the Universe, but Li Xiandao saw the past. Once he found a suitable person for those things, they would be unimaginably strong. Zhou Tianyu was the best host for one of them. Prepare the contract. Li Xiandao said to 7. Great. 7 nodded her head in a well-behaved manner. Li Xiandao waved his sleeves and the scenes changed, from the resting area to the main hall. He sat on the boss chair and looked at Zhou Tianyu. I will buy your soul and this will be your compensation. Li Xiandao said slowly. Zhou Tianyu asked, what is it? Primordial divinity. Li Xiandao said calmly. What is that? Zhou Tianyu found it weird, he had never heard of such a thing before. Li Xiandao explained, you can understand it as a senior's cultivation and legacy. Once you merge with it, you will slowly inherit all his cultivation. Even if you lose your talent, you can still improve and work for me. Zhou Tianyu's eyes lit up, it wasn't because he would be able to improve, but because he heard that he could work for Li Xiandao. To work for the mysterious master of the Bank of the Universe, Zhou Tianyu instantly found the goal for the rest of his life. No problem, I will sign. Zhou Tianyu agreed without any hesitation. Li Xiandao reminded Zhou Tianyu, merging with a primordial divinity is really painful, so prepare to bear with it. If you are unable to hold on, you will die. Even if you hold on, but your consciousness is not clear and the owner of the primordial divinity tempts you, then he will replace and become you to live in this world. Zhou Tianyu smiled confidently, I don't know why you have so much confidence in me, but since you've told me to try, then I will try my best. I won't let anyone take advantage of me. Li Xiandao nodded his head in satisfaction, as expected from someone born with prophet talent. Even without it, he wasn't a normal person. Master, contract. 7 passed Li Xiandao a contract. Li Xiandao passed it to Zhou Tianyu and said, sign it. Zhou Tianyu didn't hesitate at all. He signed his own name without even looking at the content. Li Xiandao was really pleased. He trusted him fully and was loyal to him. So, Li Xiandao definitely wouldn't let him lose out. Da-da-da. Li Xiandao stood up, walked behind Zhou Tianyu, and said softly, close your eyes, I will take away your soul now. From now on, your soul will be in my hands. If you dare to betray me, I will shatter it and you will die. Zhou Tianyu didn't say anything and closed his eyes. He wouldn't betray a kind person who pulled him out from his darkest moments. Li Xiandao reached out his hand and brushed Zhou Tianyu's forehead. Very quickly, he grabbed out a sun-like blazing soul. When Seven saw this, she was shocked, such a high-quality soul. I have seen the souls of many, even the souls of some celestials, but they aren't as pure and bright. The more one thinks and the more cunning one is, the darker the soul will be. Li Xiandao placed it into a jade bottle and let Seven keep it. This is the reason why I have high hopes for him, he is the best body to inherit the primordial divinity. We have 4 primordial divinities, are you prepared to give him that one? Seven asked. Li Xiandao thought about it and reached out. A pure white stone-like primordial divinity flew over. This primordial divinity was just the size of a palm, but inside it were the secrets of the primordial god race. There were various species of god race, the most noble was the angel race, and in the last era, a few archangels swept the heavens and gave judgment. They were invincible, but because of the war, they fell and were lost in the annals of time. Until today, one couldn't see any sign of the god race in the 9 skies and 10 lands. Only the 4 primordial divinities left could recover the essence and shine of the god race. These 4 were Archangel Gabriel, Battle Angel Michael, Fallen Angel Lucifer, Moon Angel Yuzuna. Seven said worryingly, the reason why the 4 primordial divinities were placed here for so long is because the times have changed. The genes of the god race are different from us now and no one can perfectly inherit it. Li Xiandao kept silent. The past owners tried to find someone to merge, but without exception, they failed, so it has been placed here till now. Seven sighed. Everyone knew that the primordial divinity was really terrifying. Once it was totally raged, one could form 4 invincible angels. But, they were unable to merge it. Li Xiandao's voice was really thick and filled with rhythm, times have changed and the god race doesn't have many remaining bloodlines, such that we are unable to adapt to the primordial divinity. But there will be this small bunch of people in an era, their genes will mutate to become stronger, some will even trace back to their ancestors. I used my all-knowing talent to look at Zhou Tianyu, he was one of them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been born with such a talent that should have disappeared in the river of history. Li Xiandao took off his mask and smiled. He looked at Zhou Tianyu like he was looking at a treasure. I took away his prophet talent, so I will give him an even stronger one. The 4 god race angels are in my hands. The strongest should be the battle angel Michael, merge with it. I believe that he will definitely transform. Li Xiandao believed in it firmly. Chapter 24, Battle Angel meets his master. Although Li Xiandao didn't currently have any cultivation, his terrifying talent had started to take shape. From what he was observing, Zhou Tianyu had the greatest chance of merging with Battle Angel Michael. As long as he was able to block the invasion of Michael's soul, he would be able to become the new generation Battle Angel. Kaka. Li Xiandao casually crushed the primordial divinity and a bright light was born. In it, there was a male angel with 12 pairs of wings that opened his eyes. He saw Li Xiandao. He saw 7. He also saw Zhou Tianyu. This was the ancient Battle Angel Michael, one of the archangels of the god race. He memorized Li Xiandao and 7's faces before jumping into Zhou Tianyu's body. The saintly light followed and injected into Zhou Tianyu's body. Although Michael didn't have the same level of intelligence he had when he was at full power, he still knew that he had to merge with a human the moment he was released. Actually, not only did Li Xiandao want to remake the 4 archangels, they themselves were waiting for someone to merge with them. How could the pride and glory of the god race disappear in history? They had to take responsibility, so it could rise again. This was why Michael quickly merged into Zhou Tianyu's body. Li Xiandao looked on, using his invincible strength in the Bank of the Universe to control their merger. He suppressed Michael's power and let Zhou Tianyu adapt bit by bit, and then allowed him to fight back. Li Xiandao thought that it would be a long process, maybe not a few years, but it would definitely take a few months. But he didn't know that the moment they touched, Zhou Tianyu would explode out like a beast that had been starved for decades, and he swallowed Michael's powers. He didn't care about whether or not it was too much for him, he just continued to eat. When Li Xiandao saw those scenes, he released Michael. Explosion! Battle Angel Michael saw Zhou Tianyu swallow his power just like that, so he just injected all of it over. If you have the ability, then swallow it all. But if you fail or are tempted by me, then I will swallow you. This was a battle that would lead to death if one wasn't careful. This battle silently raged on in Zhou Tianyu's body. Li Xiandao saw those scenes and took 2 steps back. This wasn't something that he could control and both Zhou Tianyu and Michael would rely on their own abilities. I took away his prophet talent, so his body is empty and needs something to fill it. That is why he is suitable to be the perfect spokesperson for the god race in this era. Li Xiandao said calmly. He saw clearly that Zhou Tianyu and Michael were on the same level. That was a huge win for Zhou Tianyu. This was because he was just a human kid while Michael was the battle angel. To be even was a loss for Michael. Michael couldn't do anything either, he tried everything to tempt him and get him to let down his guard. But Zhou Tianyu only had one thing on his mind. To become the battle angel to serve his master. Michael couldn't help but think that the master should have been the person who let him out. Time passed, minute after minute, second after second. For those 3 days, Li Xiandao and 7 looked on quietly. They guarded Zhou Tianyu and didn't say a word at all. Within Zhou Tianyu's body, Michael had disappeared. In the depths of the consciousness, Zhou Tianyu and Michael merged together fully, they influenced one another and aided one another. Hong! Suddenly, a huge power exploded from within his body and spread out. A barrier appeared in front of Li Xiandao which blocked it. Explosion! The wind blew and lightning rumbled. A saint light shone brightly and captured one's eyes. Li Xiandao squinted as he waited quietly. Zeng zeng zeng! Crisp footsteps sounded as a really handsome and cool-looking guy, wearing silver armor, walked out from the light. He had long and smooth hair, and there was a wind that blew around him. Zhou Tianyu. Maybe it was more accurate to call him Battle Angel. Zhou Tianyu held a long halberd and behind his back were 2 pairs of illusionary wings that trembled slightly before disappearing. A terrifying aura spread out as he walked in front of Li Xiandao. Battle Angel Michael greets Master. Zhou Tianyu knelt down on one knee, and the halberd was placed straight up, shining a bright silver light. Are you Michael or Zhou Tianyu? Li Xiandao asked. He didn't understand who the leading personality was. From today on, there is only Battle Angel Michael who belongs to Master. Zhou Tianyu is dead, he died after he took revenge. Battle Angel Michael said coldly. Li Xiandao looked at the strong Battle Angel and smiled. Rise. From today on, you will be the first God race angel under me. You will be the head of the 4 horsemen, the Battle Angel. I hope that you can live up to that name. Battle Angel Michael held the world-destroying halberd and said, Yes, my master. 7 looked on at the side, shock appeared in her eyes, and then she said with joy, Congratulations master, you have obtained a horseman with utmost potential. Moreover, after finding this perfect choice, the other 3 won't be a problem. Li Xiandao said with satisfaction, "From today on, I will let the 9 skies and 10 lands remember the strength of the 4 horsemen under me. I will kill all enemies of Master." Battle Angel Michael said coldly. Li Xiandao said with satisfaction, "Go adjust to your new strength and learn all the skills of the god race. Then, I will send you to battle." Battle Angel Michael backed down respectfully. 7 praised, "When did Master get Zhou Tianyu to yield? When you reach out to someone who is in despair, then you will be his savior." Li Xiandao smiled. "Right Master, White Emperor is finding you." 7 suddenly said. Li Xiandao said with a weird expression, "Didn't he go to break through?" White Emperor Tian Guangming was a really arrogant person. His pride made Li Xiandao feel a little unhappy, he even felt like he was too arrogant. This was why Li Xiandao allowed him to go back to break through to test him, to see whether he would return or hide for 14 years. But Li Xiandao didn't expect that he would come back so quickly. Zhou Tianyu just took his revenge and Tian Guangming came, which meant that his attitude had changed. Maybe, he realized the true strength of the Bank of the Universe and then changed his thoughts. 7 guessed. "Unfortunately, he is not a good choice. If I could, I would be willing to give him a chance to be one of my 4 horsemen, but his talent is too weak." Li Xiandao said regretfully. He only had Tian Guangming and Battle Angel Michael under him, which was Zhou Tianyu in the past. He shouldn't have let the good stuff go to other people apart from those under him, so Li Xiandao considered Tian Guangming. But in the end, he gave up. Tian Guangming would definitely not be able to take it. "I will head out to see him and see what his thoughts are." Li Xiandao stepped out and appeared in Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Chapter 25, Big River Sword Energy. Spirit Illusion Holy Land, the bunch of long mountains and majestic buildings made this whole area look really noble and rich, but unfortunately, this place was extremely silent, there was no one at all. There were 0 people in this huge Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Li Xiandao appeared on a mountain peak, his tall body stood at the entrance, his clothing danced in the wind, and his hair ruffled. He saw Tian Guangming, who was sitting in the distance, and who knew what he was thinking about. 14 years is a long time, so why did you come back so quickly? Li Xiandao opened his mouth, and his voice spread out a long way with the help of the wind. Tian Guangming, who was resting a few mountains away, stood up. His eyes were blazing bright as he stared at Li Xiandao. His body disappeared from the spot and he flew right in front of Li Xiandao. "You broke through to Holy Lord level of strength, not bad." Li Xiandao looked at Tian Guangming. He didn't expect him to break through so quickly and was a little shocked about it. He thought that Tian Guangming would take at least 3 months to break through. Now in just less than a week, he did it. This was just too quick, it didn't make sense with his ordinary talent. Li Xiandao and Tian Guangming sized each other up. What he faced during these few days shook Tian Guangming's cultivating heart that he had since young. The Bank of the Universe was a place where everything could be traded. Someone actually exchanged their talent for a celestial artifact to take revenge. He also didn't expect that he would sell 14 years of freedom in exchange for 500,000 God Source to break through. How much energy did the Bank of the Universe have? Tian Guangming rejected the role of Xiandao sect leader to return here because he felt like he saw his future in the Bank of the Universe. A random thought, he really didn't know why he would think that way. So what if the Bank of the Universe could take out a celestial artifact to give to a Dao pursuing realm kid to take revenge? Why did he see his future? Tian Guangming, himself, couldn't give an answer, but at the depths of his heart, he believed it firmly. "I returned because I respect the contract. I am an honest person, so since I sold you 14 years, then from now on, for the next 14 years I will be under you, I will help you do anything that doesn't go against my morals." Tian Guangming said solemnly. Since he returned, then he wouldn't change that choice. Li Xiandao's lips curled up. "Very good, it seems like you respect the contract. Not bad, to have a similar understanding with someone in this era makes me happy." In comparison to the bunch of bad debts in the Bank of the Universe, they were all scum who didn't respect the contract and went against it. In comparison, Tian Guangming was decent. He respected it and would do what he promised after signing his name. Although his first impression wasn't good, now Li Xiandao had higher hopes for Tian Guangming. Thinking about it, since you will belong to the Bank of the Universe for the next 14 years, then enter to meet the master. Tian Guangming's expression became solemn, he still felt pressured to meet that mysterious master. Li Xiandao waved his sleeves and Tian Guangming disappeared from the spot, entering the Bank of the Universe. Closely after, Li Xiandao stepped into the Bank of the Universe. He changed his clothes and wore a golden mask. Tian Guangming looked around, his heart was still in shock. Li Xiandao had no cultivation at all, but when he waved his sleeves, even him with Holy Lord level of strength couldn't fight back at all. Terrifying. Da-da-da. Li Xiandao walked in and looked at Tian Guangming. Have you made up your mind to follow the 14-year agreement? Tian Guangming said respectfully, of course, I have to follow it. Good. From now on, you belong to my Bank of the Universe, you aren't under Xiandao sect anymore. In these 14 years, you will listen well, and after that, I will let you leave. Li Xiandao said in satisfaction. Yes, Master. Tian Guangming nodded his head. This is just nice, I have something I need you to do. Li Xiandao's eyes spun and he said calmly. I will try my best and go all out. Tian Guangming said loudly. Li Xiandao waved his hands and said, it is actually quite simple. I want you to claim debts. Tian Guangming said with a weird tone, claim debts. Not bad, I like how you respect the contract, that is very rare. Many people in the world sign their names and forget it after turning their backs and treat the contract as a joke. The Bank of the Universe has a lot of bad debts, so this time you will get some back for me. Li Xiandao said solemnly, his expression was one of unhappiness. After awakening his talent, he tidied up the Bank of the Universe and was shocked by the numerous bad debts. There were so many people who signed their names in black and white and went against the contracts. Not only were there people like that in Dali Land, but there were also many in the other 9 skies and 10 lands, including the celestial world. No wonder the past few owners died. So many bad debts shocked even Li Xiandao. If they didn't die, then who would? What debt? Tian Guangming asked curiously. Big River Sword Faction, Supreme Technique Book, Big River Sword Energy. Li Xiandao said calmly. Tian Guangming said in shock, Big River Sword Faction is the top sword sect in Dali Land, their strength is even stronger than Xiandao sect. The Big River Sword energy that their ancestors spread down was said to be able to slice the Milky Way and destroy the 9 skies. That is correct. When the Big River Sword energy reached the peak, it did have such ability. Li Xiandao nodded his head and said. Big River Sword energy would be able to slice the 9 skies in one slash. This was the best evaluation of Big River Sword energy. Big River Sword energy was just so amazing. Big River Sword energy belongs to our Bank of the Universe. Tian Guangming didn't dare believe it, these were the roots and foundations of Big River Sword faction. Li Xiandao nodded his head. 10,000 years ago, the sect opening elder of Big River Sword faction used his soul to borrow the technique. He used the Big River Sword energy to establish the Big River Sword faction. Tian Guangming's mouth opened wide, he didn't expect that the sect opening elder of Big River Sword faction actually came to the Bank of the Universe too. He even used his soul to exchange for this rare top technique. On the contract, it was written that 10,000 years later he would return it to the Bank of the Universe and also pay a celestial artifact to redeem his soul. Now that the time has come, he still hasn't done anything. Li Xiandao said calmly. Tian Guangming said right away, they do have a celestial artifact, it is a long sword that the elder spent much effort acquiring from a secret realm. But after bringing back the celestial artifact, he was heavily injured and went into seclusion. He passed the Big River Sword faction to the next generation and it lasted until now. Li Xiandao's gaze became really deep, no matter whether or not he is alive, no matter whether or not the celestial artifact wants to abide by the contract, it is the truth that he went against the contract. I need you to collect the debt. I can't beat the people from there. Tian Guangming's face turned red and he said softly. It wasn't that he wasn't willing, but that even with Holy Lord level of strength, he couldn't charge in alone. I will send a helper over with you. Li Xiandao waved his hand and his first battle angel walked out coldly.